You know what time it is? You're here Sunday night, November 24th. We guys know it as the third annual JDF tribute live stream. Now, a lot of you guys were asking, it's the third and it's only been 2 years since he passed. We actually had the first one like 2 or 3 weeks after he passed away the first year. So that's why this makes it the third. So third year in a row. We got some great guests tonight. We got lots of people joining us. Morphin Legacy did unfortunately have to cancel. If you guys know, we've been following him. He dealt with his father passed away, and he's been dealing with a lot of family stuff. So we do have some plans to make up for that. But he did say he very happy to come back in the future. So we'll have Kevin coming back. Say hi to a couple people. You guys have been crazy in the chat already. We got MMA Head. We got Nick McCormick. We got Mega Demon. I'm just going to skip around. We got Sonic, DJ Sizzle, Astronaut Ranger Saiyan, MMPR Mom. What's up, Tanya? We got Nate. What's going on? Shannon, Paul, Raul, Josh. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We do have Kat producing in the back. So if you guys have some cool stories that you guys would like to share, go ahead, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat once. Kat will be checking them and starring them so I can go back and read them when I get a chance. But first, we got our guests. So our first guest, you guys know him as Archer. You guys know him as a Ghostbuster. You also know him as Nerd Affiliated or president of the Nerd Affiliated Army. Guys, welcome. Archer back to the Legacy of Nerd stream. What's going on, man?
What's going on, everybody? Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm glad we got the camera. It looks good. It looks sharp, man.
It's my fault. Sorry.
No, you look good, man. You look good. Appreciate you being here. If you guys remember, a lot of you guys that are OGs or day ones, you guys know he was here for the first tribute stream. He was one of the ones that basically told me not to cancel that first stream because I was going to cancel it.
Oh wow, yeah.
Remember, because I had the giveaway and I felt like I was like, how do I say, like, I didn't feel right about it. So you actually told me to go ahead and did. And since we did it, we've been making it a yearly thing. So, which is really, really cool. Our next guest, you know him from films such as Bloodline of the Grid. You also remember him from the Power Rangers Extended Universe. He's back tonight. He's not in a car. Welcome, everyone. DJ Rivers, what's going on?
I'm never going to live that car thing down. What's up, everybody?
No, you did good. You know what? Karen Ashley, the first time I had a live stream with her, she did hers in the car outside of a studio. She was doing like a radio thing. So she did a full 45 minutes in her car and then went inside to her meeting. But when she did that, she was like, I really got to go. As soon as she left, the Once and Always trailer dropped, like that moment. So, and then so she came back later on and she was like, I'm really sorry. She came back later on. She did like a whole studio like you're doing now, obviously. So we'll call it the Karen Ashley treatment DJ is doing here.
Listen, you do what you got to do where you have to do it. And I stand by that. Also, quick shout out to Kevin's dad.
Yes. Awesome. Yes. So our last guest to introduce, we may have some guests pop in, but our last guest that we have for tonight that was originally announced, you guys know him as one of the best cosplayers in the Power Rangers community. He's a great friend. He's a great guy. Guys, everybody welcome Patrick Sky to the house. What's going on?
How are you? How's everyone? Thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate being on this stream with all these wonderful people on there, and my condolences as well go to Morphin Legacy as well. Our hearts go out with you too. Hope everyone's doing well tonight.
So it's funny because Patrick, we talked about doing this in July. Mm-hmm. I was like, I need you this year because I remember I think you were the one I wanted. I think we started talking more after the last year's stream.
Yeah.
And then we were like, I was like, I need him on next year. So you were first in my list of who to get on. You're such a great guy, man. So I appreciate you being here.
No worries.
We are going to do a giveaway right now. So we have, if you guys know, we have 5 giveaways tonight. We got 2 Lightning Collections figures. We got the Master Morpher and the Legacy Dragon Dagger. I want to go ahead. I got a variant cover. This was sent to me by Kang Jing, the artist from Cairo Comics. This is the Singapore con exclusive for this year. So if you could get it from Singapore or order it from Kang Jing internationally, it was the only way you can be able to get it. We'll be giving away this tonight. So for the what to put in. Actually, let me set that up. That was the one thing that I didn't do is set up the giveaways for tonight. I should probably do that. Giveaway tool
Happens to the best of us,
right? It's like I got everything else uploaded. I even like got on early today and like did the background and everything, and I was just like, no, I didn't do the one thing that I've been knowing that I was going to do the entire time. Okay.
if it makes you feel better while you're doing that, I had a plan today, and that was non-MMPR stuff. It was to do an oil change on my truck and my wife's car. Long story short, 4 hours and 46 minutes later, I still had to go to Valvoline and get them to help me do it.
Well, you know what? I don't even mess with it. I just take mine to Valvoline now. Like, you know how to do things, and sometimes it's just like the time and ease and effort. It's just to get someone to do it as well. Guys, if you're interested in the this comic book, just put hashtag Power Ranger in the comments, in the comments, and then we will pick the winner here, like in, I don't know, 4 minutes. Does that sound right? 4 minutes?
Yeah.
8:50 Central. So guys, it's been an interesting last couple of months for Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Anyone get anything good this week?
Oh man, I was jealous of the dude, and I mean, I love his work. I admire him so much, and he got like the Dino Thunder black suit, man. Bro, I can't even begin to tell you how happy I am for him, because it's like meant to be. And his name escapes me. I guess it's not important, but
it's like some dude.
It's some guy. It's like
some sky guy.
It's some land guy, I guess.
Land guy.
It's like Sky. Oh, Patrick, it was you.
Sky guy.
Sky guy. It was Sky
guy.
That's me.
Yeah, that's major, man. Talk to us about that, bro.
I'm so ecstatic. That auction house was such an experience, let me say. From the 30-day pre-bid to the live auction that happened. And I went in there. I was like, you know what? First, I'll be content with the Heritage Auction book that they were giving out. If you visited them, they were giving out these books of the catalog of all the suits that were available, but they were also available like on eBay or their direct website and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'll be content with a book. But I was like, I have pipe dreams, and one day I would love to own a suit. So I had a top 5. I registered in the whole 9 yards, and I was just tracking it, and I was like, am I really going to jump into this? Like, do I really want a suit? So I was like, I started tracking, of course, all the Tommy stuff. Because, what was me if I would be tracking a Kimberly suit or a Billy suit? It had to be the Tommies for me. So I tracked everything, and then the live action, the auction, the live auction happened, and I was like, okay. I was at work. I was in my office. I was like, everyone, I'm in meetings all day. Don't knock on the door. I'm just watching it happen, and I knew there were suits going in there that I wasn't gonna get, like the MMPR Green Ranger suit. That's the Legendary Battle, the Dimensions in Danger. That suit, I was like, there's no way that's happening. It went to like 30K, and Zeo was the suit. I had a top 5. Zeo was my number 1 draft pick. I was like, I wanted that Zeo suit, but I'm looking to buy a house next year. I have to think a little bit responsible. Like, wait, hold on. Wait a little. Let's dial down a little bit, because if not, I'm going to be recreating that picture of whoever that Zeo cosplayer is will fight monsters for food, and that'll really be me in Times Square in New York City. So I was like, well, you know what? Cool. So Green went by, Zeo went by, White Ranger from Fighting Spirit went by, the Fighting Spirit Green Ranger went by, and the Dino Thunder in regular mode went by. But I was like, no. I was like, I need Dino Thunder. I was like, I'm walking away with something. And I almost lost it, because it went for a bid, and she was about to call it. I was about to win it, and at the last second, someone outbid me. And I was like, do I just let this go? But my hand just remembered from my eBay sniping days to wait till the very last second and hit that outbid, and bam, I won Super Dino mode, which I was like so ecstatic for.
Not only that, but Super Dino mode. Like, it was that's if you're gonna get the Dino Thunder suit, like that's the suit to get. That is so cool, man. As a 6 suit. And I was like thinking, I think that's the only one I haven't ever seen you cosplay in. I don't think I've seen you in Red Zeo. But
I have all the Tommy suits. I have
okay.
Super Dino mode as well, but I haven't really shot Super Dino mode because it's still a fairly new suit.
Okay.
And it's hard to juggle when I do conventions or do projects because everyone's like, well, wear green, wear white. You know, those are like the commons. And I'm like, but I don't want to wear Dino Thunder. Like, let me just like do Super Dino mode. Like, that would be so cool. But I really don't wear it as much. But I did get to wear it at Ranger Stop and Pop Atlanta, which you know, I was a guest at the show and I was like, I'm wearing Super Dino mode. And I'm just like hitting everyone on edges with the spikes. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I apologize, everyone in advance. But I love Super Dino mode, so I'm so ecstatic to get the suit. They said it takes 7 to 14 business days for it to arrive.
Oh, I'd like to say weeks. I'd be like so pissed if I spent
Yeah,
that much money and like say it's
it'll
weeks.
it'll be here before my birthday, you know, and it'll be my little birthday Christmas gift to myself,
That's awesome,
which I'm
man.
very ecstatic, and I'll be sure to show it off on lives and all that stuff, and
Can't
let everyone
wait.
see it as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Real quick before we continue talking a little bit about the auction, but we're gonna go ahead and pick a winner. Go ahead and share the screen for just so you guys can see everything too. We got 48 entries. We're gonna pick in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everyone, to everyone that entered. We got like 2 in the last 2 seconds. I don't know if you guys saw that. Was kind of cool. And our winner is Apollo Dragon. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Just contact me on Instagram. Instagram is absolutely the best way. If you don't have an Instagram, contact me at thelegacyofnerd@gmail.com and get me your shipping info. That way I can get this out to you. Guys, just so you know, all stuff, give me like 1 or 2 weeks to ship. Next week is a holiday week. So spending time with the family. And then the week after that is the first week of the month for work. So that's always a thing. And I actually have NostalgiaCon that week as well. So I won't be here. All right, guys. So did anyone else get anything from the auction? Or was anyone thinking about getting anything from the auction?
Not me. I knew what it was. I was like, and I'm with Patrick, gotta say for the other stuff.
So I went in and so I did set up an account for the auction, and then I went in like Wednesday because you have to do like that pre-approval, like put in a credit card thing.
Yep.
So I went to do that and I put it in, and it immediately tells. So when I made the account, I made with the PO box for the Legacy of Nerd, and my credit cards aren't connected to the PO box. So it said your address doesn't count. By the way, you can't fix this online. You have to call. And I was like, that was a sign. Like, I was like, I'm not going to do this today. I heard there was another auction coming up with more simpler things, in a couple of months. And maybe that one will be for me. But I saw like a little Ninja Steel squared outfit go for $1,000. So I don't think this was my auction. I was thinking of getting like a random blaster or, like some like random prop or something from the show, and this was more like the show itself. So
you didn't want the Meow Ranger suits?
I don't think I've ever watched that whole thing on purpose.
No, neither have I. I was surprised on what they went for. It went, I think, for like 3.6K they sold for.
I did see they were talking about on Twitter Bitter 102 was a thing.
Yes.
And he was there in person, and he was like taking things out from underneath people, not like ugly or anything. He was just outbidding everyone. And he made it a Twitter account, and he basically said like he's new. He's not new to the fandom, but he's new to like being, visible in the fandom. And he was going to be putting up like very good pictures of everything that he bought, because he bought like 7 suits and 25 helmets and like 17 morphers. And I think I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
I think they were all SPD suits too.
He got the entire SPD team. He got a lot of the Samurai team, and he got some of the Mega Force and Ninja Steel. I think he got some Ninja Steel too.
Crazy. So
he got a lot of stuff. But I know he did get everything from SPD minus that SPD was not Omega. What was the girl one that came in and helped at the very end?
Nova.
Nova Ranger. That's the only one, because I don't think they even offered that one. So
there's a lot of stuff that they didn't. There's still a lot of lots, because I think 700 and change the lots that were available, but I believe it goes up to 900 but I think the other lots were damaged goods, things that weren't 100% for fans. So I think that the auction that's supposed to go in first quarter of next year are supposed to be some of the things that weren't 100% fixed, or just taken, they're just damaged stuff, but it's buy as is kind of auction.
See, that's me. I will totally take something broken and pay like a quarter of the price for it. So so starting our show a little bit, we're actually going to start real quick with just one of the comments from that Cat put in. We got DJ Sizzle says, it was cool to meet JDF in El Paso and Albuquerque. I did the fusion dance with him, and he signed a comic book for me as well. Astronaut Ranger Sane says, my favorite JDF moment, my wife got me a cameo video he had stopped doing, then cut the year before, but she DM'd him and he got me one and showed me some of his personal collection. That I've heard a lot of those cameo videos are very long and very, very personalized to the people.
Yeah.
It wasn't the you got 30-second situation. It was like he's gonna talk to you through the camera lens. Josh says, I was lucky enough to meet JDF once at a local comic book shop and talk for a moment with him and had him autograph my Dragon Dagger and a photo with him. Thanks to my brother. He also got a free pick with him. That's the story I hear a lot too. Archer, I know you probably have something that you want to talk about, but I want to start you off with a discussion being you did one of his last appearances, right? And you had a very unique experience with him. Well, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So that was back when I was doing more vlogs / like toy hunting videos on my second channel. And I went randomly to GameStop and I saw the sign for it and I was like, oh, cool. Like, F it. Why not? Like I know at Comic Cons, he always has a huge line, whatever. I was like, you know what? I'll get out of work early that day. And if there's no crazy line, I'll, go inside. And the best part, I was watching the video the other day. I forgot about this. I was pulling up to the GameStop and I could see maybe 10 people in line. Like it wasn't really anything crazy. So I was like, that's odd. I thought there'd be more people. I get to a stop sign. This car's passing me, dragging like a tree branch or something, like randomly got stuck to it. And it's him like driving the opposite direction of the GameStop. And I was like, did I miss it? Or is he like just gone? Like he's not, and he was just like chilling. So I was like, all right, I guess maybe it's over. I'll go online anyway and see. And sure enough, he I guess got lost and turned around, went back. But it was a great experience. It was one of those where you don't realize how much somebody means to other people until you just see their reaction afterwards. And he also was just shooting the breeze with people. He wasn't trying to all right, see you later. He was just oh yeah, tell me about whatever. Oh, give me your stuff to sign. And I'm sure people are going to say this. And that other person said, there was one person who was oh, I have, this one thing. And he noticed a bag of stuff. And he was give me the other things. And they were well, I don't have the money to pay for all of these. I just only have enough for this. And he's I don't care. And just signed everything. So that was life-changing as far as oh, not all of these people or not all these celebrities are POSs. Some of them actually genuinely enjoy the fan experience. So yeah, that was, I think, months before.
I think it was 2.5 months before. Yeah. Because it was the Austin St. John editing, and you asked him about the Austin St. John thing, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I guess just to touch on that part. So I did a video prior to everything about the history of their beef, just on a whim. And then afterwards, I go to the signing. I asked him, can I record you as we interact? He said, yeah. I turn up the camera, but usually my Rode mic is always just going. And then afterwards I sync it to my camera. So I had asked him off the camera and everything, about that situation. And he essentially was don't judge people. We're all human. We all make mistakes. There's no such thing as a Ranger curse. And I told him, I was you could have actually kicked him when he was down and you chose not to. So that's, props to you for, being a bigger person. So after the passing, I decided to drop that video or that audio. So I was I feel people should know that he said that especially after the fact, because people would always think, oh, maybe they're still butting heads till the end, and it's like, no, I had no intention of dropping this thing. It was in my raw like SD card pile, and he chose to be like, hey, the man made a mistake, let everything play out, see what happens. So I was like, you know what, props to you, sir.
And that's one thing, we know like that feud was going on till the day he left us, but he was never going to fuel it, or at least not anymore.
Not anymore.
Like not anymore. He wasn't going to fuel it, and you're right. He could have kicked him when it was a good opportunity.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people took it.
Yeah.
So, and he decided to go that. And that was also at that time where he was like, I don't really want to focus on so much of the Power Ranger. He was really focused on Legend of the White Dragon, and
right.
Austin's more like Power Rangers. So, when did you? I know, like everyone became. I feel like we're probably the same generation. Like when we became fans with Tommy, but like, what about the character about Tommy Oliver himself? Like, what is something about that character that really stands out to you?
That's a good question. Actually, I've never had that one. I think I liked the fact that he just. I know that it's there's real life stuff there too, but I like the fact that he kept going. Like it was like every time that something happened or they were going to lose their powers or whatever, like he was still like, nah, we got to keep pressing on, like that kind of attitude. And then it also kind of showed like you could be a leader without being like, hey guys, I'm going to be a leader. Like it just every time just defaulted to him after a certain point. Even in MMPR, like I feel like when he came back as White Ranger, it was like an unofficial "you're the leader now" type of thing. Even when he was green towards the end, it was kind of like, yeah, Jason's there, but because of his attitude and his like always willingness to like press on, he was like almost like the unofficial leader for a while. So I was a fan. I think I was more of a fan of him when he came back as White than I was prior. Even though I think the Green Ranger suit was cooler, I was more of a Tommy fan when he became the White Ranger.
I think me too. Like the White Ranger, I felt like that was like Tommy Oliver at his peak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was when like he came back, literally the white light coming down, and was just that moment was like in the show itself was really cool. Do you have like a favorite moment when like just like a JDF moment, whether it be like something that he did on the show or something he did maybe in Bad in the Sun films, or even like maybe one of his videos? Can you think of anything that kind of top of your head that's something where I think of JDF?
I think him I remember, I mean, so many memories are coming to mind now, but I just got a random thought randomly at a Rhode Island Comic-Con. It's one of my favorite cons up here in the Northeast. I remember he had like a corner section, maybe next to like Shatner or Kevin Conroy. Like I remember like walking off the floor, and again, I would never get in line for these things because at cons I was always just like, it's always expensive. You're online for hours. So I, just see from a distance. And I feel like nowadays they block off those kinds of celebrities. But at the time, it was on the main floor. And I remember him just like coming around the table, like down the stairs and like, yelling it's morphin' time. And then like talking to like whoever was next to him at their booth, and then talking to those fans too. So that's just one of the things that like I kind of also forgot about. And then just now I was like, oh, wait. I remember seeing that being like, oh, he's cool. That's him. And then going about my day. So yeah, that's something. I mean, that was probably like 2016 or 15 or something like that.
It's funny because when you talk about those videos, it's like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that, and it felt like, maybe just a year or two ago. You know what I mean? Because the things like that were so often with him. With him showing video of talking to people, and like he was one of those guys, like one of those really early vlogger people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, always filming what he was doing. And it wasn't like, I'm filming myself to show you, how it can't, like, this was his real life. He just always left the camera on, sort of thing, which was a really, really cool aspect. Obviously he did the My Morphin life really early on in YouTube, which was like kind of something, more people are doing now than, he was one of the originals doing that as well.
I also remember like being in college, going to a random like college bookstore. I was in a student government and we traveled like around the state of New York, and going to a random like bookstore and seeing Jesus Didn't Tap shirts. And I mean, we're talking now like 2007 or 6 or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Like I like that. Like, I like that name. And then finding out later on down the road that was him. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I remember seeing that before. I knew it was associated with him,
Exactly.
which was interesting.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we got a couple of comments that Kat looked up for us. We got Tybone Skyberg saying, I remember I met JDF twice. Is only remained in Florida SuperCon 2013 and 2017. He's a very amazing guy. Got photos with him and a couple of autographs. That's awesome, man. We got Jo saying, my JDF experience was when he and I played a Facebook prank on Jason Font with him signing Font's name instead of his own. Okay, man. Him and Font would always mess around, man. Okay, so real quick, just so it doesn't get away from us, we're gonna go ahead. Actually, let me set this up real quick and do our second giveaway. We're gonna do the red Zeo Ranger. I need to pick the banner. We'll do this one. So I got the banners ready today, and I didn't get the giveaway ready. Okay, we'll do hashtag Tommy, guys, and we'll be giving away this Lightning Collection Red Zeo Ranger. And by the way, guys, there is a sponsor tonight for all these items, and the sponsor is everyone in the audience. So this year, we were able to use all the funding that we had made on our monetization stuff, and you guys funded all the giveaways for this year. So thank you to everyone who has been coming all year long and watching the content. Everybody that's been, co-following on other, platforms that were monetized. So I appreciate you all guys for being here for the last year. So you guys are the reason that we're able to do such amazing giveaways we're able to do. So hashtag Tommy, we got that chat going. Awesome. So one of the topics I want to talk about with you guys tonight, because it's recent, what do you guys think about VR Troopers entering the chat? We'll start with you, Patrick.
For the new comic Prime, right?
Right.
That's very exciting. It's very exciting. I didn't read the comic yet, but I saw the excitement for everyone online, especially on Twitter. It's great. I mean, it's about time. That's something that the fans wanted when VR Troopers was out. They wanted them to cross over, and hopefully that leads to the Big Bad Beetleborgs crossing over next at some point.
Right, or Masked Rider. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Or Masked Rider should have crossed. Well, I know they did cross over once for the transfer of power that was leading to it, but I think he should have came back.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really cool that they finally got answering some questions like, first of all, what was included in the Hasbro set? Right. So what went over from Saban, and what did Saban have the entire time? Now I'm just questioning, like, did Saban originally sell it to Disney and Disney sell that back as well? That's my only question I have left about that. But I did read the comic book. I put up my review. I didn't really like the first issue very much.
Nice.
But I do like that VR Troopers are in it. But my argument was, I wish it was like we actually got to see a proper VR Trooper Power Ranger meetup before we saw like alternate universe.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was very much a first issue setting up the series and stuff like that. It wasn't for me yet, but it may build and might get better for me. We will see. Archer, what did you think about VR Troopers entering the chat?
I mean, excited for it. It's again, like things like that are like, oh, childhood, like toy fantasy come to life. Like we all had both lines, and Beetleborgs, if you're lucky enough, and they were playing, in your toy box, but not like, on print or in film. So I hope it continues. It's one of those where I'm just like, why not? Just do it. And I also think too that VR Troopers and Beetleborg, stuff like that, like most fans don't remember all the lore. Like I don't remember all of the lore. So like, I feel like you can kind of do whatever you want,
right? And
just make it work. And people will be like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. Why not? And like, you could even like, in a way, like reboot, use same names, different backstories if you wanted to.
Right.
But just seeing like a VR Trooper suit there, I think would be great. But also when you interviewed the guy, him saying I would come back as like the older role.
Oh, Brad Hawkins.
If they did that in the comic book series 2, again, I think you can almost like soft reboot the series with him or that character still being there and like, oh yeah, I eventually passed on, or something like that.
Well, we got an independent comic book creator right here on screen. So ideas, Patrick, just saying ideas. DJ, we were talking about what if you have an opinion on VR Troopers finally crossing over with Power Rangers in the new comic book.
First of all, I just wanted to say it wouldn't be a DJ thing if I didn't have technical difficulties, so I'm back. 2 for 2. Gotta keep it going. Number 2. No, VR Troopers, it makes sense. I mean, it totally makes sense, especially if you know the behind the scenes curtain as far as, a lot of people know that originally it was supposed to be JDF, it was called Cybertron.
Right.
Even the transformation sequence is basically a repurposed MMPR Tyrannosaurus helmet transition. So I mean, it's Tokusatsu. It's absolutely Power Rangers. It's it's so integrated. Even as a kid, I wasn't the biggest Beetleborg fan. I didn't hate it, but I also couldn't tell you any of the names right now. I remember there was with no disrespect, the Jay Leno clown, and that was about it.
There was Drew, Joey. What was the green?
My response is sure.
Yeah.
Either way, sure. But no, I think it's a cool move. I think I love expanded universes anyways. So to me, just tapping into the different power bases and just connecting everything is always fun. So to me, it makes sense.
Flabber. White Blaster Beetleborg. I thought that was a really cool moment. DJ just did his thing again. White Blaster.
That was my favorite Beetleborg, was the White Blaster.
I liked about that. What they said. Remember when they had the Shadowborg, and they said that the White Blaster could never coexist, or never not exist if the Shadowborg wasn't there. So they were intertwined. So it was a good way in story to say, like, we're only going to use this White Blaster Beetleborg as long as Shadowborg is here. Because...
Hi guys, I'm DJ now. I just wanted to say, please keep adding all your stories into the chat. Sorry, DJ, you've been replaced.
I don't even know what happened.
Please keep adding all your stories to the chat. Thank you guys so much for participating, and I will keep highlighting your stories so we can share them out loud. Now that the real DJ's here, I'm going.
Thank you, DJ.
I was like, DJ, you look so different, man. I was like, that was really quick. You just morphed right into.
Did you do something with your hair?
Yeah, I grew some. Crazy.
Well, one thing I did talk to Brad Hawkins about, I do feel like a VR Trooper reboot makes more sense right now than a Power Rangers reboot. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the times that we are in, because like Archer said, the VR Trooper history is not so ingrained in like Power Ranger is, where you can almost make a brand new fan base off of VR Troopers and still kind of like, oh yeah, I remember that. But this is like way more modern and way more different than what we had before. But that's cool because we only had a little bit of that compared to a lot of this. So that's my thought on it. I think it would be a good way to get Power Rangers back in and more relevant as it was when we were kids as well. It's like, kind of like you always get the first thing first and then you get the second thing. Like how the Backstreet Boys were really cool. And then like you got NSYNC, and then NSYNC was just even better than the Backstreet Boys. It's like one of those situations.
I don't know if it makes more sense. No, I think it makes good sense. I don't know if it makes more sense because the fact of the matter is, like, Rangers is in limbo right now.
Right.
So with that said, I feel like it makes good sense to do it just to give something that I don't know what the pulse is as far as like VR Trooper love. Like, I'm sure it's out there, but man, you'd be hard to find them outside of our community.
But it's like a really good thing. I think it's not something it's something you could come in and say it's fresh, but you have something to like base it off of.
No, 100%. 100%. I'm just saying, like, normally, like the deep cut pulls as far as like a soft reboot. To answer your question, yes, I think it makes a lot of sense to do it right now because you can do whatever you want. Because number one, not everyone's married to the lore because it was kind of short lived. Right. But number two, you either recognize it or you don't. But it's also so obscured, and that's what I mean about the Pulse thing, where it's such a niche fan base. You're either gonna look at that and go, okay, what is this Power Rangers ripoff? Or you're gonna go, oh, that was the thing I kind of remember. Or there's the ones that's like, hell yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with it. They can do whatever they want with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I mean by that.
One little interesting thing I did see on Twitter today, and I don't know if it's true, but they said the reason you were not supposed to see helmetless VR troopers was because the original concept and original idea for VR troopers, the American version, was it wasn't them like transforming into VR troopers. It was their consciousness going into these metal robots that were VR troopers. So it was kind of like Avatar. It was like an early kind of Avatar thing. Not Airbender, but the blue skin guys, but those guys. So that's why we didn't see helmetless, and then they kind of just never brought it up, and then they just changed it. Like, yeah, they're kind of morphing, but like they didn't really like ever really talk about it, sort of thing. So that's one interesting thing, guys. We're gonna choose a winner for the Red Zeo Ranger. We got this screen up for transparency, which was the word I was trying to find earlier. But you guys have hashtag Tommy. You got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck to the winner. And the winner shall be, who is it? Oh, Matthew Becker. Congratulations, man. So Matthew Becker, I actually just met him at SpaceCon. He came down to, he's a very big con going person. He came down to San Antonio. He came in, he was very busy though. He had like Anakin Skywalker, he had Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, like he had Rosario Dawson. So like he saw me for like, he's like, I wanted to meet you. And he's like, I gotta go. So he's a good guy. He's been chatting with him on Instagram. He's a really cool guy. Dude, just message me your shipping info and I'll get this to you. Unless you're coming down, well, I'll ship it to you. Either way, I'll ship it to you. But if you're coming down, I think you might be coming down NostalgiaCon. I can bring it there too if you'd like. So just let me know. All right, guys. So we're going to read a couple of chats or comments that we got in the chat. Let me get to those real quick. So we got Robert Nave. He's one of our day ones too. I appreciate you, man. He goes, I was blessed to meet JDF during his PPP tour. I presented him with an American flag that had flown over my base when stationed in Afghanistan during Operation Enduring Freedom. JDF was cool and humble. He talked to me and my friend for like 5 minutes, even though the line was long. He even signed extra stuff for free in addition to what I paid for. He was so incredible. I know Robert's a huge Ranger fan, so I know that meant a lot to him, man. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that.
And thank you for your service, man.
Thank you, for sure.
We got Joshua Amos Pose saying, my favorite memory of him is when he came out to my elementary school in Tallahassee, Florida for my birthday, which also fell on Power Rangers Day, and he gave me signed autographs and a Sword of Darkness. That's amazing, dude. That's a story. That's a great story.
Sick.
We got Cosmic Ranger saying, I remembered one of my closest friends called me at Power Morphicon, and I got to meet JDF when I was younger. And it was a dream come true. I've actually met him quite a few times. JDF is the best. Awesome, man. We got Arrow 26 Studios. We got our captain of the Legacy of Nerd cosplay team. He goes, he genuinely cared about his fans. One of his best quotes I remember was one of his videos. Tell yourself you are the best. Tell yourself you can. Never say I can't. That's awesome, man. Appreciate you. And guys, welcome. He was one of our surprise guests, and we got Aaron Shonkey, Bat in the Sun, Legend of the White Dragon. How you doing, man?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here. Was in the middle of editing White Dragon and lost track of time.
Nah, you're good, man. You're good. So we were kind of just talking. I think you saw last year's show, but kind of just talking like, you know, what Jason meant to us, you know, and any, you know, personal stories that we may have or anything that just like kind of we remembered about him. I know, you know, we know you and Patrick were very, very close to Jason. Aaron, what is something do you feel comfortable sharing tonight, if anything?
Oh gosh, you know, I hadn't prepared anything. The one thing I would say though, in terms of sharing, is that Jason was great about sharing stuff. I've worked with a lot of celebrities who keep a lot of walls and they like to keep a lot of people at a distance, and you know, and everyone has their problems, and obviously, you know, Jason did, but he was very transparent. You know, if you read his poetry, and he put himself out there, which I think is really something to be respected and admired, because a lot of people aren't that transparent about themselves. And I think that's why people connected with Jason so much, because he was very honest. I know I've talked with Patrick about this, and Jason was very open with a lot of people, and he wanted people, he was a hero to so many, but he also wanted everyone to know that he was flawed, which in a weird way kind of made him more of a hero, because to be that vulnerable with people is a rare thing. And he, a lot of people knew him. I was on set and we had one of our grips, which is like in set world grip, if you go on like really big, like kind of separate, like you're not, different departments aren't supposed to talk to each other. You got to stay in your own zone. It's a big machine that has to work together. We don't run things like that, but Jason would be on stuff like that. So he was kind of accustomed to that world. But I remember one of our grips was having problems. And the next day he came to me and I talked to him. And he's like, oh, I was up with, Jason all night talking. And I was like, whoa, like you had Jason's number. He's like, yeah, he saw that I was down and he gave me his number. And he called me and he talked with me all last night. And I was like, that's awesome. But I was also thinking like, that also sounds like Jason though, which you don't normally have, like you're the main star of your movie taking time out of, after he gets off set of 17 hours, be like, let me talk to the script for an hour because he's having a hard time. And Jason's real with them, and I think that it's Jason's ability to share his problems, I think is what was really great about him. And I think he was also doing that, for kind of like a lot of kind of like self-talk and self-help, because he was like, these are the problems I have. We all have them. Help me, help you, help me, help you. It's this really wonderful symbiotic relationship. And if, you talk with, everyone that was brought onto the project, they all say that they felt that from Jason, like David Ramsey, Mark Dacascos, all these people came onto the project because they're like, I just feel like I thought they were all great, like great friends. And then when I ended up talking with David and Mark, they're like, no, we've only met like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, really, that's it? They're like, yeah, but I just like, we've really connected and like on this deeper level. And I was like, well, that sounds like Jason. So going on what you said about sharing, I would say that's kind of one of the nice things about Jason, is that he was really great about sharing and stuff. And obviously him and me, talked and shared a lot, but just seeing him talk with people that he wasn't super close with and willing to be that upfront and honest with them was always admirable.
I know, he talked about how he cared about the fans and always wanted to give the fans, to try to make them, give them what they were able to get even if he had to do it himself. What do you think he felt towards just people that he didn't even necessarily know, but he knew people looked up to him? What do you feel about that?
I think Jason had a great deal of compassion for a lot of people, just because his own life, I think, gave him a great deal of understanding. I mean, those, who really knew Jason knew a lot of the struggles that he would go through. I'm sure, Patrick knew all those things, and we've talked about that a little bit, and there was stuff that, Jason, he told the world so much, and then there's still some stuff that he was getting to tell the world, and that just gave him a great understanding of people, and to, everyone's going through something, so don't be too hard on them. Like, I mean, and you can see that in the way that he just gave a lot of fans their attention. Fans that he never met, that he would be there. I'd watch him at conventions, last fan standing. He wouldn't leave. Conventions are like, we're turning the lights off, we're kicking everyone out. And Jason's like, you're not kicking me out. He's like, you can try, but you're not going to be able to. He's like, I'm going to see every one of them off, and he didn't know a lot of those people, but he remembered them. He had a great memory for remembering their names. So he would meet someone, and then like years later, he would know that person. So he, I think he had a great deal of compassion for a lot of people, and that's kind of what he wanted White Dragon to be about. White Dragon is about 2 very flawed individuals, but it shows that like everyone's flawed, and we can still find a commonality and peace between us. So
since he's passed, I know a lot of the fandom has kind of gravitated towards you, because you've been kind of, very, very visible and putting yourself out there. What do you think is some of the questions or some of the things that people ask the most about JDF to you, besides when is the Legend of the White Dragon coming out? But like, what is the other, like they ask about JDF? What do you think some of the things you hear a lot since he's passed, people like telling you or asking you?
I see a lot of people, and I think this is like wonderful. And it's a lot of people come up to me even out in public. I was at Best Buy and I was at Ralph's, and people come up and they'd be like, I was friends with Jason. And I would listen to them talk, and I don't want to foil that or ruin any of that, but and I'm not saying that they weren't friends, because Jason was friends with everyone, but it was like everyone that he talked to they felt like they were friends because that's how inviting he was. Like, even though they weren't like close, like buddy, they felt friends with him. And I thought that was like so wonderful that Jason had this very openness. So a lot of people would want to talk like, I'm in with Jason, I'm friends with him. And I was like, that's wonderful. And I'm not saying that they're not, because they are. I'm saying that, but it was always like a sense of I just a sense of pride in how well he communicated his genuine sincerity to so many people, that everyone felt really close and they felt like they were friends with him, which I think is great. And I think in a lot of aspects, they were friends with him because he was that honest with them. And that is what friendship is: someone that's willing to be there when they need them and willing to be transparent with them. So it was just, I thought that was so like, wow, it's like you've only met this person once or twice, and you already feel and establish this friendship. And it's just rare to meet a lot of, especially working in the industry, that people are that sincere in front of the curtain and behind the curtain. You know, I hope that made sense. I didn't want to I was trying not to put anyone. I don't want to put anyone down. I was trying to elevate that.
No, and I think that's one thing. Honestly, being a Power Ranger content creator, and I think a lot of us here can say this, is that if we make a Green Ranger, Tommy, or JDF related piece of content, right? One thing I'll see a lot, especially like the comments we got on entering for the giveaway stuff, was just like, I used to talk to him on Instagram all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Or whenever he was live, he'd be like, oh yeah, I remember you. And he used to say that to me a lot. Or he would, I would meet him for the 5th time and be like, he would remember who I was and legitimately remember who I was. And that is like really entirely rare for someone who meets like 1,000 people or more in a weekend every,
right,
42 weekends of the year. Right. So, and that's the thing with him, was he had that. Even it's funny because, I only met him one time. Right. And I would say this before I met you and Patrick and Jenna and Tammy and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I know him better now than obviously I did before, but even before, like, even through just like his TikToks, his Instagram lives, his Instagram videos, like, you really, really felt like you knew this person. He was one of those people like you would probably see at a con, like if you weren't like me and kind of didn't know what to say the first time you met him, but if you were like a very personable person, like I wasn't, you would think that you probably were known each other forever, because he was that open and sharing to everyone. I mean, everything from his poetry to his history, and even just be on Instagram saying like, I love tacos, like just like his other stuff that you would think like that you knew so much about him that you may not know about your brother or your sister or your best friend, just because he was so open to everyone, which I think is super unique for not only a celebrity, but just a person and even a content creator. Because a lot of us content creators open up our lives to an extent to our audiences, but like that was something more. That was more personable for him than it was, than I've seen other people done or have done since then. So, people have TV shows, Kardashian crap, or I shouldn't say crap or whatever, but that stuff where like they have like scripted versions of their lives, but his was easily, I remember just watching Facebook Live or Instagram Live and him just like talking, and not just talking, which was something very unique for everyone. I don't know. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a rant because it's me talking to you guys a lot, so I haven't said very much. But I don't know how long I know you're very busy, so if you have to dip out, just let us know. But we're gonna do a quick giveaway real quick. We're going to be giving this away, the White Ranger. Of course, I didn't set up because I am an idiot, and this is where Archer's a much better streamer than me, guys. So just letting you guys know.
We were literally late because of me, so I
So, guys, if you guys want this metallic White Ranger Lightning Collection, it's the one that's like the little translucent. It's really, really cool, actually. It comes with a case protector because we got this one was actually donated. Technically not sponsored by you guys, but this was donated. So I appreciate you guys. Hashtag metallic in the comments. We will pick a winner in just a moment. And okay, cool. Do you want to go over a quick some of our starred comments? Again, if you guys have any experiences or anything that you want to share, just put them in the comments, and Kat is highlighting them so I can come back and look at them. Joshua Amos Posey says my favorite memory of him is when he came out to my. Oh, we already said that one. My bad. Joseph Wiley said I watched a video of JDF playing a prank on Johnny Young Bosch by signing his name over the Black Ranger. That's kind of mean. I'm not gonna lie. We got Matthew Becker saying in 2017 when I went to get my photo off to JDS, for some reason it put a blue tint on the entire photo, so they put me in the line 3 more times. So I got 4 with them. That's crazy, man. My little nephew met him once wearing White Ranger gloves. JDF asked to try them on and let my nephew put them on him, then post it on his. I remember seeing a lot of when he would put like, kiddos would come up to his story or come up to his lines, he would make a point of like making them remember. I remember he did one where he posted like he like signed like this little boy's like shirt and he was kind of like tickling him at the same time and like it was like what's going on. But yeah, so we were talking a little bit. One of the discussions you missed earlier, Aaron, was the auction, the Power Rangers auction. Did you bid on anything, or what are your opinions on the Power Rangers auction?
Gosh, I mean, I think it's great for the people that were able to get the costumes that they wanted. I don't know how much they sold for. I'm sure they were expensive.
Right.
Me personally, I mean, I think it's sad that Hasbro has, let go of all that history. Not that I'm sad that it went out to the people that hopefully deserved it and got the pieces. But it's really just them, like, I feel, just not caring about the history or the legacy that is Power Rangers, and it's really letting that dream die. And they're like, we're going to redo it our own. But I was like, but you should always remember the past and have that protected. So I think, I know they're also hard up for money. They're selling a lot of stuff. I know like Warner Brothers and Hasbro, they're really like, they're hard up for money. I mean, Warner Brothers is selling a bunch of stuff right now. As far as the outfits, what's kind of funny is when we did Power Rangers for Street Fighter, there's a whole bunch of Rangers in there. So a funny story is that basically when they shipped us all those outfits, they're like, we want all these Ranger outfits. And I was like, that's fine. Whatever Rangers you're going to put at the end that are in the game. And I was like, cool, that'll be cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. So for some reason, our studio address and our home address got mixed up. And 30 outfits arrived at our house. And they are like boxes and boxes and boxes. So basically, like, our living room, dining room where we eat was just stacked and stacked of Ranger outfits for that month that we shot. And because you had to like rent like a truck to take them more stuff. I was like, just leave them here. Like that was such a tight window of shooting that I really didn't have time to like move all this stuff. So really for like a while, those outfits were actually kind of like very aggravating. And I was like, they're just everywhere. Like I was like, Ranger outfits are just everywhere, which is fun because you open, like, they're just here. Because what happens is when you're working on the movie, it becomes work. I mean, they're amazing and they're cool, and when they're on the actors and they're fighting, it's very, very cool. But after a while, you're like, stubbing your toe on a box of a Ranger outfit when you're trying to go to the restroom now. You're like, damn it, Billy, the Blue Ranger outfit. Like, you're not, so I had all those here, and then of course, in terms of outfits, Jason's favorite Ranger outfit that he ever wore was the Green Ranger Bat in the Sun version 2, which we of course have all tucked away and nice, and the helmet and everything. So I have that piece of like, no one can take that away from us. But selling the stuff, I hope they went to people that really love them, and I'm sure they did. I mean, you have to have money to do it, and that's kind of the terrible thing. I know Warner Brothers selling Batmobiles, and I'd be like, ooh. $2 million buy that, but
right.
I don't know. I'm sure. I'm curious. I mean, like, do you guys feel the same way, or was it kind of heartbreaking to see them being sold, or is it kind of cool? I wish that the Rangers actually got to have some other outfits. Like that's also kind of like a bummer.
DJ, what do you think? Because we talked about like, it was cool to bid on stuff, but like, what did you think about the auction itself existing?
I understood, and I agree with Aaron in the sense of it's an indication of what the climate is right now. It's an indication of what the industry is doing right now. Even with Christopher Kamen Lee, like we were looking at the in space stuff just to see like, oh, I wonder what these are going for. I wonder what they even have up for auction. And Chris is Chris, so his attitude towards things tends to be a little bit more, it is what it is. But it's I'll share the same sentiment that I hope whoever got these pieces, you included, Mr. Sky, I hope it's in good hands, but also, you know, it would be nice to see that that legacy preserved in some form or fashion, but also hopefully they have good homes.
Yeah, Patrick, did you get something from the auction?
I did. I got the Super Dino mode black
Oh.
from Dino Thunder. Yeah, I got that suit from there. Very
Cool,
last
cool.
second, but yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you got it. You know, that's
I think everyone was happy he got something.
The comments were super sweet. I was very grateful when I wasn't gonna post it online until it appeared on my doorstep, but I was like, you know what? Let me just post it online. I was like, everyone's sharing their treasures, so I was like, let me post it. And I thought, you know, it was gonna become that terrain of, you know, what you should do with the suit, what everyone is saying online, what we should do with them, versus the comments that I got were very sweet across all social media. Like, you know, you deserve the suit. You should have had the suit. We're happy you have the suit. So I was like, you know, thank you very much, internet. Because I'm excited to have the suit, and I'm glad, you know, that I have that.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm super glad to hear that. You know, and you were close to Jason, and you know, he would say this, and you know, as someone that was very close to Jason, you know, we were one of his closest friends. I know that Jason would be beyond happy and would want you to have that. So I know that would make him very happy, which is great that you have that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But also, real quick, speaking on the Ranger community, obviously not on behalf of, dude, it's actually a testament to you, man. Like, you spent so much time and your efforts and the way you represent and your love for JDF, dude, it echoes in the fandom. It's undeniable in the fandom. So I feel like people feel that. And it is a testament to you that we know instantly, we're like, hell yeah, Patrick Sky got a JDF suit, or, you know, something that makes sense for Patrick Sky to have. So, you know,
we're not getting emotional tonight, people. We're not doing that tonight.
Are we not?
But thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, and I'm glad to have a part of history. And you know, Jason, for me, it's that was a friend. You know, that was a brother. That was someone who I'm gonna, you know, love and support until I see him in the next afterlife. You know, and I'm glad to have a part of it, you know, and part of the franchise itself. I mean, we've all been fans of the franchise, you know, within the 30 years at some part of way, you know, from beginning to end, or some part of it. So to have a part of that, you know, for me, it's whatever the franchise does years later. If they reboot it, make it look like, you know, more armor versus spandex, for me, it's going to be back in my day. I grew up on VHS versus this generation is very digital. So I'm very excited to have it in a shadow box. And back in my day, my heroes wore spandex, you know, versus everyone now is armor and, you know, all that kind of stuff like that.
I mean, and I've kind of talked about this before, but I don't think I'm sharing it with you guys. My idea, so I don't mind the auction existing. I just think it came at a bad time. I think the time was not, with everything going on that we heard in the news about the reboot and the cancellation and everything. Obviously, you know, being a couple years after Jason's passing, because that has an effect on the entire fandom as well. I don't think the timing was right. I do understand selling a lot of the stuff. A lot of the stuff was like super degraded, and it was just taking up warehouse space, and it's like 30 years of stuff. I get that. Like, go. People want this. You don't want to repair it. You don't have any intention of like displaying it of any way. My only thing is like maybe the Master Morpher should have been in a museum, and then everything else auction off, right? Yeah. I was a little surprised to see that they were auctioning off like the new once and always suits, because I would like, they made like brand new suits for those, and that was kind of like, why would you do that? But we only knew that they sold like 2 sets of them, and I'm sure they made like 7 sets of them, so they probably have some kept away. So I'm like, that was the only thing to me was like, you just made those once and always, and you only used them for like one thing. So that was kind of my idea on it. Archer, actually, we haven't talked about this between me and you. What were your thoughts on the auction itself?
It's where I kind of thought it was like business as usual, because I know a lot of companies tend to do that. I know a while back, actually, there was an auction last week where a Ghostbusters costume went, and you know, before that there was some. Adam Savage also tends to cover a lot of like the auctions whenever they want to do like a big promo. So yeah, I think for me, I'm like, that just seems like normal, because I feel like we as fans tend to care more than a lot of companies do. But at the same time, I never thought of that. Like, it would be cool, yes, if the actual actors got first dibs on like, hey, do you even want this or not? But you know me, I'm all about financials, and like we're approaching year end. Everybody's trying to show like we made profit this year. So
right.
I'm not surprised that they were just like, just get rid of all of it. Just like push whatever you can, whatever profit you can make on this stuff, run with it. So
I guess for me, I don't think, because I've seen so many things like go on auction before, like bat suits. Like I know Christian Bale doesn't have his Batman Begins suit or his Dark Knight suit, right? So when people were like, why didn't they automatically give them to the actors? I was like, why would they? Like that was my initial reaction to it, right? Just because like knowing how that works a little bit, especially like you see in the Star Wars fandom, like you talk about, we just saw how Ewan McGregor, he was talking about like he literally had to have the prop maker make him his own lightsaber to get it, and still had to sneak it offset to get it offset, right? Like they don't get to walk away with these things. So I do think some of the actors will keep names unspoken, but for like a little bit, I don't think they went the right route on expressing themselves. At the same time, I do understand, some of them are kids. I kind of get it. Like, they did something, it was maybe their first big thing. Like, I get it, right? But that's why I don't think you saw a lot of the actors like say anything, because it's just like business as usual, right? It's just like it's another work day, right? So that was kind of my thoughts on it. Real quick, I know Kat wanted to come up. No, not right now.
I do agree about the auction, because I do think that the actor should have been given an opportunity of, hey, would you like to participate in the private actors and cast and crew live auction, and then whatever's left will be made public. In regards to giving them the suits, it's kind of
like if Hasbro wanted to, right?
Like it's more like a gift, like, hey, listen, I appreciate everything that you've done. Here, you can have your gift. But when you sign on you have contracts, you sign on to do a job, it's not we're giving you a goodie bag afterwards at every job. You're given clothes, you're given an outfit. Hey, this is what you're going to be wearing. You have to give it back to costuming and everything afterwards. So unless it's like in the contract, like you're giving me the suit after, or if it's a courtesy, hey, we want you to have this after, it's different. But more so of, I should have it. At that point, I don't agree with, but I do agree with. I think the actor should have been given a private live auction first before the general public for them to Unlike Jason took his Green Ranger suit from the '90s, so that's with him. That's why the Green Ranger suit that's on the auction house was the Legendary Battle, not the '90s, because he has the '90s suit.
Right, he has one of the '90s suits. Apparently, there was like 3 of them, but he had, because I saw the one he had at the JDF experience here in San Antonio.
Yeah,
I did see it had the Bat in the Sun shield on it.
Yeah,
but it was like, I was like, that's the '90s spandex, but the Bat in the Steel shield was on it, and I was like, that's interesting. So, real quick, Kat.
Hi. We are going to talk about some resources, because we can't talk about JDF's passing without talking about suicide and suicide prevention. It is really important, y'all, to take care of your mental health. And I know that's easier said than done, because we all struggle, especially this time of year, with seasonal affective disorder. That is a thing. It gets dark and cold, and we all just feel it. It's only human, right? And it's a chemical imbalance in your brain. It is nothing wrong with you. Like physically, it's not bad that you're feeling these things. You just need to be able to talk to someone. And so the resource that we are sharing is the Suicide and Crisis Hotline. So if you are in a crisis, if you are feeling suicidal, you can call them. It's 988. I believe we've been putting that in the chat and the thing that's scrolling on screen. Yes, help is available 24/7, like that. So it is on screen. That is one of the best resources. They will match you with other resources that are best suited to you and your situation. And they have trained volunteers there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays included. It does not matter. Your life is important. You are important. And it is better for you to stay alive, even if your brain is trying to tell you that it's not. So if you guys have, sorry.
I was like, what was the number? You didn't finish say the full number. What was the number?
It's just 988. The suicide hotline.
Wow.
They shortened it. So
that's great.
You can also go to the hospital, go to the ER. You can go to the ER and you can be put on a 72-hour hold. It is an involuntary hold. Some ERs have mental, I'm trying to think of the right term.
Mental health departments.
Yeah, mental health ERs. Like in San Francisco, like I literally did clinical rotations in the mental health ER. And there are people that I honestly, when I saw people come in because they were struggling, because they were having suicidal thoughts, all I thought was, wow, you are so strong to come in and seek help and stay alive. Like to fight this battle, it's a hard battle. It drains you. And that does not make you a lesser person because you are dealing with that. It just means that you might need a little bit more help. You may need medicine, and that's okay. Because chemical imbalances are a thing, and luckily we live in a day and age that we can help treat that. And so the suicide and crisis hotline can help get you resources, can help you get free resources. So if you're going through something, please feel free to reach out. And if your friends are going through something, you can reach out on their behalf and they can help try and coach you how to help your friends as well. But don't be afraid to open up to your friends and to your loved ones, because unfortunately, like when stuff goes on inside our heads, like no one else knows about it. And if you don't open up about yourself, no one can help you. So it's really important to open up to doctors, to anyone around you. Yes, mental health matters. And if you have a mental health condition, that does not make you a lesser individual. I will open up that I suffer from anxiety. And, that it's not fun. But at the same time, it's okay. So we all can support each other together, and it's really important to support each other in the Power Rangers franchise.
Thank you. Remember, the number is 988. You can type it into your phone or type it in, dial it into your phone. I say type in. Well, it's the times. Dial it into your phone and get immediate help. Not only that, like she said, you call 911. They were able to help you as well, and ERs are able to help you as well. Thank you very much for that information, Kat. Appreciate you. We are going to go ahead and announce the giveaway winner for the Metallic White Ranger, guys. Let me share the window up for transparency. And then after that, we'll be doing the Dragon Dagger giveaway, which we announced earlier. So hashtag Metallic is the what you enter into the chat if you would like a chance to win. We're going to give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everyone. I think it's so cool when like two people add in when I'm saying like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like they're like, I just got to do it. And the winner is Lexi Weller on Facebook. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here tonight, and congratulations on the Metallic White Ranger. If you can message me on Facebook, I prefer you to message me on Instagram with your shipping information. If you can't message me on either one, you can message me on the Legacy of Nerd at gmail.com. So you can message me there, your info. Congratulations, Lexi. Thank you for being here tonight. Next, guys, we have, and his camera has been working for like 45 minutes. So we got DJ. He was like, oh, yeah, you.
I almost flipped you off, bro.
So it's funny because, me and you are sort of new friends. We haven't talked a lot. We did talk a little bit on the Avengers Power Ranger live stream we did earlier a couple of months ago. They call us the Avengers of Power Ranger content creators. I thought that was a really cool name.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we said Casey was Hawkeye. So just so you know.
Nice.
But we kind of talked about how JDF's passing did really affect the franchise as a whole. Yeah. Now, did you ever get to meet JDF, or did you have any personal experiences that you wanted to talk about?
A lot of my relationship was honestly secondhand. A little bit about me. I'm not really, and no disrespect to anybody else, I'm just not really get in line for autographs person. And the relationships that I have with the Ranger actors are personal relationships and developed relationships and direct introductions. So most of my interaction with the man, nods. Like I know he would take the time to like acknowledge, which I always appreciated and respected. Now, the stories I used to hear from like everyone I know, even like just seeing what Patrick does just to honor him, and even like Chris himself, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, Chris texted me, Christopher Cayman-Lee, who plays Andros, he texted me the day he got the news before I'd even made the headlines, and it was circulating fast because that's how much he meant to everybody in the community, you know, regardless of history or, you know, just convention life and all that. Chris was just like, yo, bro, JDF is gone. Don't tell anyone. Keep it on the low for right now. Now, Chris isn't one to like mince words. Like he's just not, for better and for worse. But he'll always say one like all the time, we didn't always see eye to eye, but I respected the hell out of that man. You know what I mean? So I think on the last stream I mentioned, listen, convention life and headlining as a Ranger actor, he put in that work. He absolutely put in that work. And then everybody saw the plan, saw the results. But he played every role to bring the attention to make sure it was alive. And there's a reason why he is so beloved on screen and off the screen. That amount of energy and commitment, man, I wish I had half of that. It's impressive. Regardless, it's impressive. And it doesn't take, I think the community has and this is fandom in a general. Sometimes we have a misguided understanding as far as how the industry works. Like going back to the auction thing, no production really gives anything away like that. They really don't. So the understanding as far as what actors go through, what's meant, what's not, being authentic in the midst of all that. I just know that it's easy to get lost in the sauce, and regardless of what he was doing, it seems like he was always authentic, and I appreciate the messages he always had to give.
Do you coming up? Do you remember like what the Tommy Oliver character sort of meant to you as personally, for DJ?
Oh, he was the man. Plain and simple, he was the man. One thing I appreciated about Power Rangers is you could listen, regardless of the culture you're from or whatever. It was kind of cool to see kids not look like Saved by the Bell, rocking do-rags, sleeveless shirts, and still be giving back to the community. He got the girl. He never gave up. And, having your own theme song is a flex. Having your own theme song when you just pop up is a flex, And, yeah, man, I mean, once again, the commitment to go from multiple characters. I don't know. He just had that you wanted to be him because he could do anything. I don't have to get in the cockpit. I ride on top of my dragon sword. I'm gonna surf my white tiger sword. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The dude was cool. And you'd be hard pressed not to want to. If you can grow your hair out, you might want to rock a ponytail after watching him for a little bit.
Right. I feel like, I don't know if anyone else had here, but like I definitely wanted to grow my hair longer when I was a kid. Had the Tommy effect. Did anyone actually do it?
I did it. Sky, you're doing it. So
I mean, Sky is it. Like
Sky lives it. Aaron lives it. But like, dude, back when I was like rocking the hair, I got mixed people hair. I'm like Blasian, but I did for a while. And it was like a summer where it was just like F it summer, and I just didn't feel like cutting it. And after a while, I'm gonna stick it back and pony into a ponytail. And I did, and I'd be lied if I didn't say like Tommy wasn't a reason why. I'm like, I'm a rock this, you know what I mean? Even shaved the sides for a while and everything. It was
oh
like,
yeah. My parents never let me. They just wouldn't like it'd get like a little bit like almost to like right here, and they'd be like, nah, boy, you're cutting your hair. For sure. But I remember just like kind of feeling like I don't know if this is for the same thing for you, DJ, but like when he came in it was just like a whole new kind of cool when you were a kid, right? Like he was just, I don't know if it was like the aura of the guy or the character, the writing. I don't know what it was. I think we know more now as adults, but you just wanted to be Tommy. Like that was the one you were going to pick, to play as. I don't know. You're the one that dresses up as Rangers now. What do you think it's, I should say that you're not the one because Patrick is as well. And now technically Aaron sort of is in his own way. But what do you think it's like, being in a production, that you're making and going to these characters and being, I know you have the rule, like we play in their sandbox, but we're not Rangers sort of thing. But having people look at you like that and knowing that's something that you share with him as well.
Share with like JDF.
With JC, like, being like a role model as being a Ranger. Because I mean, I know because you obviously you're the Fusion Ranger. You've done other characters as well, mostly the Fusion Ranger. But what is that like being like, a character on screen now and then having to like be a role model in a sense how JDF was as well?
The association.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I can't even accept that. Like, I don't even think I get DMs, like I get messages. I have people show love, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm very adamant about that role as far as I'm happy to play in the sandbox, but it's your guys' sandbox. Right. Any association, whether it's with the, In Space Red Ranger, Andros, all of that, it's an honor or it's humbling in every facet of that. But in terms, I guess that's your answer. It's humbling, but I don't hold a candle to their influence. They're the real Rangers. They're the ones who spent production day in and day out creating this franchise that we love. A lot of it is us looking back on it on hindsight, kind of understanding it. And, like some of us have like a peek behind the curtains now who do industry work or who understand them on a personal level, but they're the ones who spent those hours in, deserts and no trailers, and I'm going to film 5 episodes in 2 days type of conditions.
Right.
So the answer to that is I'm humbled beyond belief to even be affiliated with any of it, but not even close as far as I'm concerned. I couldn't even accept that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have, I know obviously you and Chris and Colin have written stories as far as, extending the lore. Has there been something that you guys wanted to do before with the Tommy? I know you guys are kind of doing a little bit with the Shattered Past a little bit, but what are you, something that is kind of like, I wish we could do that with the Tommy Oliver character, what other version you might have with him?
Sure. I mean, I'd be lying if I said like there wasn't any consideration to the Tommy iconography, I guess. It's not just because the fact of the matter is, I mean, you'd have to be sleeping under the rock to know that JDF and Aaron have their thing going on. So we don't want to like necessarily, not that we write not to in fear of that, but at the same time, that's a respect thing. You know what I mean? In terms of, but maybe an association in terms of, maybe the Tommy character had this relic or this Zord was associated through some type of, power passing on, that kind of thing. But in terms of, I don't know, man, it's hard to, and that's the one thing. Okay, like our work, I don't even think we do really, except maybe Colin as Sam to some extent, mainly because in his season, Sam or the Omega Ranger was just a floaty light ball.
Right.
But other than that, we try not to pretend we're these characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with projects that utilize characters from the show and they portray those characters from the show. But TK is an original character. We try not to have anybody substitute as him as much. You see what I'm saying? But to say that we haven't played with the concept of like utilizing like a Tommy power or some type of Tommy influence, I think that's probably as far as we would go. But other than that, anytime we bring up Tommy, it's always in like the highest regard in terms of, it's Tommy, it's that guy. Oh, did you know it's the Dragon Dagger? It's this amazing freaking object or item that he used to wield. But as far as like having anybody portray him, not necessarily. Now, obviously, Shattered Past has like a variant, but it's like a variant type of thing.
Right. That's awesome, man. All right, guys. So we're coming up for the first major giveaway. We are going to do the wheel. Oh my god, I have to get it here. So we're doing the Legacy Dragon Dagger.
Ow.
Again, you guys were able to help me get this for you guys. So you guys are the sponsor, everyone that's been watching for the last year. So I appreciate you guys, and this is what I do. So I give it back to you. So just full disclosure, I'm pretty sure the person that owned it was a cosplayer because it's all faded where it's supposed to be holstered. So but other than that, it's in really good condition, just needs a really good clean, and it still works. I do not have the batteries in because I didn't want batteries to sit in it for protective reasons. So it works. It's really, really cool. Really, really awesome. It's been sitting here on my desk for like 2 months now. So you guys sometimes...
mine has been missing.
It's funny because I really don't know where this thing came from. I'm not gonna lie. Someone was like, "Hey, meet me here and give me $50," and I was like, "For a dragon dagger? Are you serious?" So
In some alleyway around 7-Eleven. Just meet me there like 10 o'clock.
I'm not even. That's how I got the Dragon Zord.
Patrick's like, check the pommel. Does it say PS on the back? It's
like, is it written on there?
It says PS on the back. It's like Toy Story. Come on, Andy. So we'll go ahead. This one we don't have to. You guys already pre-entered on the thing that it's been like a month since we launched this. So we have the spinning wheel right here, all ready to go. We'll go ahead. Put in the chat, and I'll see like the first answer. Should I shuffle it, and how many times should I shuffle it? So how many times should I shuffle it? First time in the chat, I'll shuffle because sometimes people get mad that I shuffle, and I'm like,
I mean, he was a 6 Ranger, and we shuffles, 6 times.
6 Rangers. Ooh, you know what? I like
big
that.
brain.
I like that. 6 shuffles. So we'll do 6 shuffles. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good luck to everyone. This was open worldwide. We're able to do that now. Again, thanks to you guys in the audience that have been here with me. So everyone around the world had an opportunity to enter. There were some great comments in the video. We will try to get to some of those today if we're not running. We're obscenely long. And the winner is, congratulations to, while we have the Bush ad in the background. It does that one thing at the end where it like trickles. Daniel of Texas. Awesome, man. I don't think he's ever won anything, and he's been here easily 2.5 years. I appreciate you, man. You're a good friend. We chat sometimes. He's a great guy. You won the Legacy Dragon Dagger, man. Congratulations.
Wait, is that you?
It is not me. It is not me.
Put himself in there.
One thing is I've been noticing, like the number one name of, especially among content creators that are Power Ranger content creators, is their name Daniel. Like, there's so many of us named Daniel. It's like, how do I differentiate myself from other people? But I Dan from Famco goes by Dan, so that's he's the only one that's different than any of us. It's funny because in high school I went by Danny, so maybe I should just go back to Danny. We'll see.
Do you let yourself be called Danny? I know a Daniel who hates to be called Danny, man.
No,
Danny.
Honestly, what I hate being called is Dan. That is what I hate being called. My mom is the only one that calls me that, and she's the only one allowed to. But it doesn't feel like me. It's not a me. It's not a me. I don't mind Daniel, Danny.
Sure.
Daniel's son was a lot when I was a kid,
Hilarious.
and I was in Taekwondo. My parents even were mean and bought me the bandana. So I had the Daniel LaRusso bandana, and I wore it everywhere. No one told me what it meant. And my uncle used to be like, Danielson, and I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you calling me son? Like, anyways,
I'm like the same way. I don't like to be called Pat or Patty. It's Patrick. But it's like even in my family, in a Hispanic household, no one even calls me Patrick. It's just Patricio. That's who my family calls me. So it's very rare to hear, Pat or Patty or a pat on the back, and I'm like, okay. Let's just.
It's funny because my family is like super Mexican, so a lot of them call me Daniel, but that's actually not my name. My name is actually Daniel. It's not Daniel, but I get called that a lot. Even it's funny, like even like when you write, you get put it in your order somewhere and you give them your name, like it's San Antonio, so I get called Daniel like all the time. And I'm like, I guess, but like it's still not my name, but it's cool. But it's okay. I guess that would be the third name that I sort of go by that people call me, but that's just like people that speak Spanish and they say that name sort of thing. But
I was thinking of a movie where somebody was like, call me Dan, and it finally came back to me, ironically, with all the colors we have on the screen here. At the end of Ninja Turtles, the dad was always calling him Danny, and the end he goes,
right,
Dan.
the original. Yep.
Call me Dan.
Yeah, and he's like, Dan.
How about you, Aaron? Any resentment for Aaron?
You know what's funny is that that skit dropped when I was doing motion capture for Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I didn't watch Key and Peele at the time, so I showed up, and then everyone's like, you know, and I mean, probably never done mocap, but it's like this really big sound stage, and there's people up like announcing because you're on this like checkerboard. And just it like sweet, everyone was just doing it that day, and I was like, "All right, Ron, T-pose, and then you're gonna be attacking Carnage." And I was like, "What? Like, what is going on?" So originally, like I didn't like Keenan Peele for that reason, and ironically, this is kind of like a weird thing is that like eventually I was like, "Oh, I was channel surfing," and then I was like, "Oh, Keenan Peele's on. I guess I'll watch this show." And kid you not, the first show that came on, because they used to do those in between little skits on like with the full show.
Sure.
And they're like, if there's anybody named Aaron watching, we apologize for ruining your name. And I was like, we're off to a good start. All right, see what you got. and now I've watched all of theirs. I think Keenan Peele is the coolest thing to come off YouTube. Like I think Keenan Peele is the greatest thing ever. So I think it's fine. But I have so much respect for those guys. They're so talented, so amazing that I'm like, it's cool.
Right. It's funny because
about 15 minutes. So if anyone has anything they want to ask me or talk about, I'm more than happy to answer. I just have to bounce a little bit.
Okay, no problem. No, I was just gonna say DJ is something that I've gone by too, but it's never stuck. Yeah,
Wait,
I'm technically a DJ too.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a
I don't
DJ.
think you told me why though.
Oh, it's like my name.
Actual name is DJ?
No, like it's initials.
Well, again, you didn't tell me why, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, We'll ask Aaron a couple questions before we get to Patrick. But how is Legend of the White Dragon? If we got a good audience here, I'm sure people are asking. How is it going, man?
It's great. It's super good. We're I think we're just about having about 10 or 12 effect shots from all the effects being done, which there's over like 1,000 of them in the film. And then we'll have picture lock very shortly after that. And then the sound design will be done. And then we have to send it out to sound mixing and color correction. And then that'll take about 2 to 3 months to do that. It's wild working on like, you know, because it's like a multi-million-dollar feature. It's so much bigger. A lot of people think that it's contained to what we raised on Kickstarter, which is not at all what it is. You know, the budget is in the millions. Not to set a false expectations, it's still less than like a CW episode, which could, you know, the pilot premiere of Superman and Lois, which was fantastic, was I think 14 million. And then your average episode, I think, of the Superman and Lois was I think 4 to 6 million. But it's still just a huge undertaking. And when you want to release things in theaters and on streaming, the meticulousness of getting the color correction and sound mixing to 7.1 is so in depth that that's way above my head, and it's something that I've never had to encounter. So we basically were going to finish it and then give it off to them, and then they they take over. And what's interesting is that they've seen like an early cut of the movie, and they originally quoted us like a month, and then when they watched the movie they were like, whoa, they're like, there's way more shots, there's way more effects, they're like, this is way more than you should have for this budget. Like, you guys have gone so beyond your means that it's going to take us so much longer. We have to mix this now, you know, like it's a bigger movie, which is great. So that's pretty much what, you know, we're working on. So it will be out next year. We're not sure where we're gonna tackle that when the film is done. We feel like, you know, we want to get it out to as many people as possible and give it its biggest release. You know, that's what Jason wanted. So we have to wait till the movie's done for us to really hit distribution. It's just so much. It's a really big process. And even someone who's worked in the industry, I learned a lot from this whole process too. So
yeah, I know, you know, it's been a topic of discussion of when it's coming out. And we've talked about it, you know, just privately between me and you. And, And I remember when you told me like a couple of months ago, you were really, you had gotten those new quotes back, right? You had told me, and you were like really kind of nervous to kind of talk about it because, you know, you had tried to keep on saying like, you know, last year, then the strike happened, and then this year, and then more complications happened with the movie. I know it's been a process. I know it's been something that's really, you want to get right for many different reasons and something that you've been working on really hardly, but it's just like, I think you've learned a lot on this movie as well. Like you've been saying, like how, you know, the scale of it and doing, especially because you and your dad have been doing a lot of things on your own as well. So I know we've talked about it. I really haven't talked about it a lot. They've been catching live streams, but I know a lot of people are here now. Aaron did show me like about 20 minutes of uncut footage. Was no music, no special effects. I think one of them had a small special effect. But what I can tell you guys, what Aaron showed me, it's more real than I thought it was. I remember telling you, Aaron, while I was watching it, I was like, I just realized I had no idea what this movie was about. Like, and starting to see what it was about was like it's deep, and it's much more bigger than I thought it was. But it's still, we remember. I remember talking to you because I thought it was going to be like you know, I don't know, honestly, I didn't know what I expected, but I remember thinking like, I see the Power Rangers influence, but I see you guys doing something else with it. Like I see like, oh, that's very Power Rangers-y, but he just did something that's not very Power Rangers-y very at all. Like nothing that you would ever see, and even like, you know, nothing that we saw in the 2017 movie, which was like pretty like DC dark also. So that's all I can say to those in the chat as well. I know Aaron's been really, really transparent. Every time something comes up with it, you update it on Instagram Live all the time. You were doing Facebook Lives quite often, but I think you've been doing more Instagram Lives lately. But just go check his pages. I have to say, like, he's been very, very transparent, like how it's been going. When people, I think you know, he probably shouldn't have said, you know, those dates, knowing how big the project was. He knows that. He's dealing with that mistake, and he's continuing to work on it. So that's all I could say about that. So appreciate you, Aaron. I know we're gonna go ahead and move to Patrick. I don't know if you want to hear a little bit of it. Patrick, we're ending with you, man. You're our premiere. You're our finale here as well.
Take care, guys. I gotta go. But
take it easy, man. Appreciate you.
Respect to all of you, and congratulations, Patrick, again. That made me very happy, and I know that'd make him happy. So have a wonderful night, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Everyone.
Take it easy, man.
All right.
So Patrick, man, like it's funny because we met, I want to say like a year and a half ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you found me, and I remember one of my friends in the chat would say like, dude, Patrick Sky's on your chat. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. You didn't see him in there? I was like, no, but like crap. And I was like, that's cool, man. Like that dude's a really cool guy. Or like, I don't know how he found me, but that's awesome, man. And honestly, like any of you guys, I don't know how any of you guys find me, but I want to say, like, you know, before you get started, like Patrick has been someone that I can talk to you about anything. There's been a lot of content creator issues I've had, politic issues that I've had, and the first person I go to is Patrick, because I know Patrick is going to give me the best professional and personal advice for these things, and he is one of the voices I truly, truly respect in my life, not just in this atmosphere. So I want to say thank you to that, Patrick. I appreciate you in many, many senses. I know we've had hours long discussions about Jason and yourself. And what do you think? I don't want to start at the total beginning because you have such a great story, but what do you think that gravitated you towards Jason to begin with?
Well, first, thank you so much for such a high compliment. For me, I always take a step back when I hear such things like that, because when I see myself every day in the mirror, I see myself as just a regular guy. I don't see myself as anyone special, anyone more or anyone less than the person next to me, behind me, or in front of me. We're all the same, you know. So for me, you know, it's sweet to hear those compliments, but I also try to keep such a grounded view because we're all the same. We all share the same love and passion for this franchise that has brought us all together. If it wasn't for this franchise, would we all know each other? Would we all be in each other's orbit in a sense because of the love of this franchise? So, thank you so much for that. And I really appreciate that. What was your question? Because the beginning just caught me such off guard.
What do you think gravitating towards JDF to begin with? Like, even just if it's just the Tommy Oliver character, what is something that like brought you to this?
I had met JDF back in 2013. Wizard World did their first and only show in New York Comic Con, and I had met him through just as a fan and celebrity at the time. Meet your heroes, and that was just the first interaction. But little did I know the path that was going to take after that, where I was just being introduced to not going to be introduced to cosplay, but more so Ranger cosplay. Then I started Ranger cosplaying, and of course, Tommy was my favorite character growing up. Once when I watched Power Rangers growing up, I was like, great, this is cool, this is awesome. I instantly gravitated. But once Tommy hit the scene, he was the loner, and I have a big family. And sometimes you could be in a crowded room, but still feel by yourself.
Yep.
So that's how I attached to the Tommy character, where he was a loner, but he had so many people around him for it. So something just clicked that just yanked me in. And plus, he had a robot Godzilla that how awesome is that, the way he just came out of the water and was just toppling. So I instantly gravitated towards it. So when I first decided to Ranger cosplay, the instant was I was going to cosplay Tommy. My hair wasn't long, my hair was short, it was still a learning process. And the first Tommy I did was I took the 95 movie suits, but I did a Green Ranger for it. So that was the first one I did, and I had gotten the San Diego Comic-Con Gold's Dagger, and I was wearing that at conventions. I look back at myself like, why were you so boldly walking around with that dagger for how much it's valued at now? But I'll tell you another story with that, because I no longer have that dagger anymore. I ended up trading it for helmets.
It's not this dagger, guys. Just so
it's not that dagger. No, it's the San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah. So we had met at another convention after. We had met in New York, and then after that was San Diego Comic-Con. I had flew out to San Diego Comic-Con, and I was wearing the suit, and he said, hey, let's take a video, show the crowd that was waiting in line, and he had showed off my suit. And after that, it wasn't until months later where I started noticing the frequent likes, the frequent comments, and then the follows. And then I got a message, hey, buddy, just wanted to let you know I kind of feel kind of embarrassed, but I forgot to hit the record button, and it's been weighing on me ever since. And next time I see you, let's do it again, which kind of created this open dialogue where now we were talking so frequently, and it kind of just grew. And my cosplays evolved. I was always looking to do something better, and what's the next suit, and kind of with that came I think Big Apple Comic-Con happened also in 2014 or 2015, and I get a message on Instagram like, hey, you're from New York, are you coming to the show? I said, yeah. He was like, all right, let's get together, like I just want to talk to you. I was like, all right, cool, awesome. And we got to, while he was doing his line, I would hang on the side of the booth. We would have a conversation, and then I had a photographer friend of mine at the time. He was like, let's shoot your Green Ranger. I was like, cool. I was like, Jace, random question. I was like, you want to join into my photo shoot? And he was like, let's do it. And it was in the middle of the con floor, and I had a buddy of mine, which is now a very close friend of mine, Jason LeBoy Photography, who took over the photo shoot and was able to shoot it so gracefully that in a crowded con floor, he was able to black everyone out, and you just see this green illuminating over the both of us. And Jason was putting me in the right poses, and it was kind of, little did I know I was going to forge a brotherhood, at that point, where ever since then, him and I, talked every day, and engaged each other in some type of way. He invited me out to Wizard World Philly, hey, come hang out with me in my booth and stuff like that. And we did Chicago, Wizard World Chicago, and the bond just kept growing. And I knew it was real because we didn't agree on everything. We would share, our opinions and stuff like that, and we would, share our stuff back and forth. And sometimes, we didn't always agree, but in the end, we were still like, all our conversations would start with, "Hey, brother, just wanted to check in. Hey, brother, I just want to see," whatever the case may be. It started with a brother, and it ended with, "I love you." Every single one of my messages, every single one of my voice notes, and texts all end with "I love you" at the end of it. So it was like for me, I wasn't friends with Tommy. I was friends with JDF. I was friends with Jason David Frank. That was a man who inspired me to be better because of how welcoming he was. And I always say to this day, that man's heart was too big for that body. He gave himself more to everyone and little for such himself, which I always tried to make sure that he felt the same love back, and I would always check up on him. I would always send him funny little emoji videos, when we would text on like the iPhones and stuff like that. And there were things, I think the last project I filmed was a Dino Thunder. We did a fan series in Texas. It was called Shattered Connections with this group called Henshin Squad, and we were going to do Dino Thunder. We filmed the trailer for it, and then I forgot what happened at the time, but I would show Jason was supposed to come to set, and he ended up having a last minute con get booked. So he was like, I'm not gonna be able to make it. But he was like, "Who do you have voicing for Mesagog?" Because we had got the full Mesagog. I was like, "Nobody as of yet." He was like, "I want to voice him." I was like, "I'm sorry." He was like, "No." He was like, "No one's really gonna know it's me until like we talk about it." But he was like, "Sure, I want to give it a go." I was like, "Okay." I mean, we never ended up getting the lines and stuff like that, but he was gonna voice Mesagog in like our series and stuff. So he was, I can go on and on in stories, and I don't want to take up so much time, but to me, that's always going to be a brothers in arms and someone that I'm always going to love and appreciate, and I'm always going to support. And sometimes I get some responses. He's no longer with us. Why are you still wearing the suit? Why are you still keeping it going? And for me, it's because again, that's not Tommy, that's my brother, and my brother gave so much of himself to the fans. Now is more of an important time to do it because so many people are hurting, so many people are still grieving over the loss of JDF because he created such an atmosphere where you go to conventions to forget about the world. So now what do you do with somebody who was such socially active and enlightening at conventions and stuff like that? Now you're missing him. So it's like, if I can do something as little as put on a Tommy suit and it's going to bring a smile out, then I'll be happy to do it, because people need that. People need happiness to keep them going. And the very first time I cosplayed, it wasn't Power Rangers related. It was like it was Smallville, and I did Green Arrow, and we left the convention, and there was this person crying in the corner, and we were waiting for a cab at the time, and she looked up and she was like, "Oh, I love Smallville and I love you guys. Can I take a picture?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "This made my whole day. I had a crappy time at the convention. I was ready to go home, and just seeing you guys made it enjoyable." So sometimes if it's something as little as putting on a costume, putting on a suit to make somebody smile, I'll take the time out of my day to do it.
Now, one thing that we've had discussions, and I know like you would disagree with the audio being releasing about the Draken stuff, right? And because you were telling me like these were things that you learned and stuff like that. What do you think something you took from something that you learned from Jason that you still use to this day, or something that you learned about life for Jason?
That there, how does the saying go? There are 45,600 seconds in a day. It's up to us what we do with them. I knew Jason had a lot of different opinions, and some frustrations, and I mean, of course, he was a part of the brand for almost 30 years. Of course, along the way, you're not going to agree. You're not going to be a yes person, and he didn't want yes people around him, and he had some frustrations with some things that went on, throughout the brand and stuff. And for me, I just felt I only thought as he did for the fans, and I want to protect the fans as much as he wanted to protect the fans. And some things for me were meant to be private, and some things, if he wanted to really be outspoken, the man was always vocal on Instagram Live. And perfect, yeah, they're right there. What Francis said, 86,400 seconds in a day. Thank you so much. My mind is like, Francis, I adore you. She's the best. I talk to her every single day for it. And I just want to be protective of the fans as much as he wanted to protect the fans and what he wanted the public to know. He was very active on social media. He was always on Instagram Live, and he was on Facebook Live and TikTok Live, always trying to connect with the fans. So it's I just want to make sure I just don't want to put them on opposite ends.
Oh, yeah.
Jason hated Lord Draken, and Jason, loved Lord Draken, and then that creates a conflict with the fans, and I don't think that should be a thing. So I mean, it's out now. What can you do?
Yeah.
But for me, it's all about protecting his fans, because he loved his fans, and he always tried to think. That man had such a talented and majestic mindset of creativity that he was always thinking about the next thing to do to connect with his fans. And look at during COVID time, during prime pandemic, when conventions shut down, his mind was already working on the next thing. Let's start doing Instagram lives with celebrity guests, and fans can tune in, and started hosting them each night. He was having everybody on there, and then to the point of, well, what can I do next? Him and I did a live an Instagram cosplay contest. We hosted an Instagram cosplay contest. After that was the Power Ranger protection program, going to comic book stores, him on his bike, and him going to comic stores that needed the help, would give back to the comic shop, and would meet with fans. He was always thinking about the next thing to do, which was always inspiring, instead of just staying in one place, or, well, it's the pandemic, I'm home, I'm not going to do anything. Okay, let me just put my sweatpants on and just call it a day. No, he was always thinking about something next to do. Well, speaking of sweatpants, here's a little secret. When you see his Instagram lives, I always laugh and make fun of him. He would be wearing a fancy shirt and a jacket, but he would have some sweatpants on under there. So it's like those are the little funny things that I would make fun of. But he's somebody who's always going to be dearly missed, and I'm always going to, rep my brother. And I'm gonna say he wasn't blood, but blood couldn't have made it any thicker, because that bond we had, no one's going to be able to devalue it, because to me, it was so special. He connected with everyone, and everyone has their own memories of him. And for me, it's always going to be my brother.
Is there a time that comes to your mind that maybe not a lot of people know, but it's like, this is the one thing I want fans to know what he was like. This is how I remember Jason.
I don't know if I should say it or not, so I'm going to keep it vague.
Okay.
Him and I got into a difference of opinions at a time, and we weren't speaking for a bit, but we had a convention coming up in Texas, and I had a table there. He had his table, wasn't too far behind me. If you were to see my booth, you see his booth kind of right behind me, which I kind of thought was it wasn't intentional at all. I just kind of lined up that way, but it was like Big Brother's kind of looking over, in a sense. For me, that's the way I saw it. And he would always check up on my booth anytime that he would go away. Anytime he would step away from his booth, he was always crossing over to my booth. Hey, just want to check up on you, see how you're doing. You good? You were good. The restroom was nearby. Hey, you're good? Just wanted to check up on you. No matter what, he always had love for you. And that's the message. No matter what, his heart was always out there for you. So no matter if you had a difference of opinion, no matter if you guys were friends, families, if you were an attendee, he always had love, no matter what. And that man's heart was, and always will be, a heart of gold. And I can go on and on with so many stories, but it's funny. I had so many things prepared before the live, and then after the live, it's just like, I just want to share so much, but I don't want to, take everyone else's time and stuff. But JDF was a great man, and he did so much when he didn't have to. He kept coming back to the show when he didn't have to. And I mean, he brought me back to the franchise because I had left actively watching about Lost Galaxy's time. And then it wasn't until I was visiting my mother's house and my little brother was watching TV and I just heard those kiosks. And I said, wait, that sounds familiar. I said, what are you watching there, bud? He's like, oh, I'm watching Power Rangers. I was like, oh, okay. But then the beginning of the Dino Thunder has that episode where you have that mystery person running through the facility. They're blacking out, they're blurring out his face, and then the explosion happens, and then you reveal that it's Tommy and Tommy's back. So I was like, oh, now you have my full attention. So I was like, okay, yeah, and I absolutely love Dino Thunder. Dino Thunder is one of my favorite seasons, not because of Tommy's back, but because it was such refreshing in a sense. It kind of had that MMPR, in high school feel, but then it also kind of spun into his own thing where, I mean, White Drago is one of my top favorite non-Tommy suits. I love White Drago's suit.
Great. Yeah.
It's such a great suit, and I love the season itself. I think ADD kicked in. And I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, that's pretty much.
Tommy, JDF brought you back to the franchise with Dino Thunder. Is what you're
saying. Yes, thank you. Yeah, he brought me back to the franchise, and I mean, ever since then, I've watched all the additional seasons that came after. I mean, I did go back and go watch the other seasons that I missed, but I really connected with Dino Thunder. Dino Thunder, is in my top 5 with SPD, with Time Force, with Zeo. Zeo is my favorite season. I absolutely love Zeo. And MMPR is in my top 5 for nostalgia, but Zeo is my number 1.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Real quick, you said you wanted to do something today, or were you able to, or you're not sure?
Oh, you weren't the only one that was giving away gifts. Okay. I have some gifts. Nothing crazy. I mean, nothing that's going to compare to yours, but I wanted to give back to some. You want to do one by one, or what do you want to do?
Whatever you want to do. It's
we could do small to large. I mean, with Legend of White Dragon. I mean, Aaron left already, but with Legend of White Dragon, I was going to give away a Dragon Prime.
Okay, pin. Cool.
One of the fans, want to win it, and then I have a Tommy photo holding the Sword of Darkness photo print that if somebody wants to win, they can have.
Do you want to do them together or separately?
You can do them separate.
Okay, so we'll do the pin first, and then we will. Let me put that in real quick. I'm making the hashtag for everyone. All right, we're going. Oh, make sure I spelled. I was like, did I spell dragon wrong? We'll put hashtag White Dragon in the comments for the Dragon Prime pin. I think you just sent me one of those actually.
I think I sent you White Dragon. I sent you White Dragon.
White Dragon one. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a bunch of White Dragon ones. I just want to save them because I do want to give them away when the movie starts coming out.
Right. I have a bunch of White Dragon stuff too.
Jason did send me a bunch of White Dragon and Primes, and just like he was like, hey, give them out. So once we get near the film, I do plan on giving those away too. So just be sure to follow everyone's social medias and stuff like that, wherever they go.
Make sure to follow Patrick Sky, producer. If we can put Patrick Sky's link in the chat, I appreciate that. Yeah, so we got the Dragon Prime print. We'll let that run for like 20 more seconds so we can do this second one. And by the way, guys, and I'm going to show you guys real quick. If you guys are watching on YouTube and you may be behind a little bit, you just press this this little settings right here, and you put fast forward or playback speed, put it 2 times, and it'll catch you up to the very where we're at like presently. And I don't think there's any delay on YouTube. I don't know if it's like TV, but it'll bring you up presently, so that way you guys we can do these we can knock them out close to midnight here. I gotta get some. I know, man. I'm sorry. These ones usually run a little bit longer because a lot of people have things they want to say. Let me just. All right, we're gonna run this in 10 seconds. Oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the winner, make sure to message Patrick Sky with your shipping info on Instagram. He is on Instagram. He's the dude with the crap load. Oh, we got Austin from Ranger Restoration Repair. That's a dude. He's such a big fan. He's been such a great supporter. He's a content creator himself. He actually makes he has a 3D printer now. So he's nice. If you have a bunch of stuff that's missing little pieces, like he's doing the Pyramida shelves, which I need to get from him. Yeah, I'm missing a Pyramida shelf too, but he also does the topper, the Pyramid topper also, and he also knows how to fix and restore a bunch of morphers as well. So he's able to he shows you on your videos how he's doing them and how he was able to do them. So for help. So congratulations to Austin from Ranger Restoration and Repair.
When you guys message me, just let me know what the prize is that you guys won.
Right.
I don't want to send the wrong gift to the wrong person.
Right. And Kat, just make note of who's winning for Patrick's stuff. And what is the next thing you wanted to do?
I have the photo of JDF holding the Sword of Darkness. It's a print, I think about 5x6.
Okay, cool. Let me get that. I'm going to actually reuse one of the ones we had. And it should work. Okay, we're going to do hashtag Tommy for that one. That was a really awesome one. You want to show it to the chat again? That's so cool, man. I don't know. It's funny because when you try to find HD photos from like 93, it's almost impossible.
I have a bunch of these. Maybe I'll do it in future giveaways and stuff. But I like them because you get to see them, in their prime, right. And when they're young and stuff. And I think it'll come. I think they'll be enjoyable. The more the years go down the line.
I can't even remember a scene where Tommy held a Sword of Darkness in civilian form.
That's when Rita had him fight against the putties, and then she gave him the Sword of Darkness afterwards.
Okay, I was about to say
the trial.
The trial, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, because he's wearing the fishnet shirt, so I was like,
I could never pull off that fishnet. I try to incorporate some like casual Tommy outfits, but the fishnets, I can't.
Jesus, you guys are. I think everybody took my advice for the playback speed because it got to 50 really quick. Like that is insane.
And then I'll toss in some little generation stickers for everyone. This is the MMPR Tommy, kind of handed off to the PR17 Tommy in there too.
I got some of those. They're really cool. I put them in with my comic books, so I can't get them quickly right now. They're in the bag, so I don't lose them.
Nice.
All right, guys. Go ahead.
We're working on issue number 3, and it's really kicking off. I can't wait. I wish I can crank these out sooner. But Rise of the Dragon, it's a self-funded project. It's all by me. No Kickstarters or anything like that. Right. I do it for the fans. And I want everyone to have enjoyed of what if we would have gotten that Power Ranger 2017 sequel, and I couldn't shake it out of my head, and I was like, I needed to make it happen. So
it's so good too, by the way, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna choose in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, I like how he does like 2 extra, right? We're gonna say like 3, 2, 1. I know I keep saying that, but it's really cool to see like on the screen. And the winner is Shannon Davis. Congratulations, Shannon. Make sure to message Patrick Sky, and Kat will take note for you, Patrick, of who won what. And there was a last thing. Was there a last thing? Or is that the last 2 things?
No, that's it.
That's awesome. Okay, awesome, guys. So we are actually going to have a new segment on the live stream before we get to the Master Morpher giveaway. Everyone, welcome back Kat to the chat in her new segment, Kat's Corner.
Hello. This is a surprise too. Yeah, hi. So we're going to talk about which Tommy form is your guys' favorite. So who wants to start first?
I've heard from Archer for a while, so
yeah.
Which form is my? I mean, I was saying earlier the green suit, but I think I might go with Dino because I remember also being very removed from Power Rangers and then when he jumped back in, I was like, oh, let me
Right.
dive back down. So at this moment, for this answer, I'm going to say Black Dino.
Okay. I'll go. DJ, you're underneath me. So which one's yours?
Easily Green Ranger, just because OG. Conceptually though, I actually have a lot of love for Dino Thunder as well, only because unintentionally, it's an amalgamation of his progression with the key, with the the brachial staff. It's literally an amalgamation of all of his powers, which is effing fascinating because it's obviously based on like Abba Danger, and I'm sure they didn't have that in mind, but that suit is perfect for him. And he has a brachiosaurus, you know what I mean? Like conceptually, that's peak. But I'm an OG.
All the Zords came out of the Brachiosaurus too.
He was a carrier Zord.
It was a carrier Zord, exactly.
I say this all the time. Conceptually, like I don't know in Japan if it's like Mercury being in Gatorade, but it was like literally meant for Tommy. So, but to answer your question, OG Green Ranger is just my heart. So he did a Hadouken.
That's right, exactly. People forget that, man. He can do a Hadouken.
You know what I'm saying? So, hey.
Patrick?
Can I just go with Master Morpher and select all of them?
No. That's cheating.
No, I will go with MMPR Green. MMPR Green, he had the dragon shield that before he became white, he showed his leader skills because he was using it. He gave the shield to Jason to protect him. He gave it to Zach to protect him, so he was selflessly, kind of already showed his leadership skills, to protect those around him. So I love the Green Ranger suit. So if I couldn't pick it because it was already selected and rooted out, I would pick Zero Ranger 5 Red. Zero Ranger 5 Red is my second. I love that suit. Patrick Starfish, and all that there.
Yes,
I have a question for you, brother. American Green Ranger or Sentai?
Oh, American all the way.
American.
Shout
out to
American.
The floppy foam shield. Yeah.
Oh my! The funny part though is when I did all the cosplay suits, when I cosplayed all the the suits before, they were always some type of kind of alternate design. After I did the 95 suit, the suit that I did after that was the Batman Green Ranger suit. And then after that, kind of was like, what's next? And every suit that I did after that was kind of like a Batman design. I did that with White Ranger, with Zeo, with Turbo. And then everyone's like, well, what are you going to do next? Or when are you going to do show? For me at the point, I always try to add a spin to my cosplays that made it stand out a little different. So, when everyone was like, well, what are you going to do next? I said, well, maybe now is the time to go show. But I didn't grow up on Zoo Ranger. I didn't grow up on Super Sentai. I grew up on that American soft shield that looked like my grandmother made it during Halloween when we couldn't afford Party City or, kind of like those high-end costumes. So no one had did the American shield, before that. And the person who makes my show helmets is Wild Ranger 5, Matt Wilson, on Instagram and on Facebook. And I said, his wife is she makes all the fabric stuff. So I said, Matt, can we have a chat? And he's like, yeah, what's up? I said, what do you think about making the 90s soft shield? He was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely serious. He was like, why? And I said, exactly why? Because I grew up on it. We grew up on it. So I was like,
why not?
Yeah, so it was the first time that I personally seen anyone do the soft shield. So I wanted to bring back that nostalgia of, if you grew up with Mighty Morphin, you remember seeing the soft shield, and then you knew without knowing Super Sentai, but you knew that footage of the hard shield didn't fit right compared to when you see the soft shield, or when you seen Tommy lay on that bed and Bri got up. You said, hold on, this footage isn't aligning right. And people started now doing the shields, and Jason loved that because that's the shield that he wore. He didn't wear the hard shield, he wore the soft one. So I was just happy to have brought, I mean, to bring the soft shields back into the cosplay mix of people really embracing the soft shield, because it really is. It's like a pillow. I get to lay on it, and it just feels soft, and
What
I
is it
love
made
that shit.
of?
I'd love to tell you, but I don't have the answer.
Nice.
So probably not EVA foam then.
No,
Because
it's not. It's
it's
not
too soft.
EVA. It's not EVA foam. It's very soft.
It's just fabric, no?
It's fabric with a kind of a soft foam on the
It's
It's
inside.
probably quilted material, like that quilting batting. You can
It
get
could
it pretty
be.
thick, so
Yeah.
it'll hold the structure, but then it'll be soft, like
Yeah,
you're describing.
it's a very soft foam inside. It's not EVA foam. It's not Warbler.
Oh
It is.
yeah, no, it could not be Warbler. Warbler does
It's
not.
stuffed. Maybe it's stuffed with goose, feathers or something.
Only
It's
you would have the goose feather Green Ranger shield. You'd be like, oh yes, I'm at San Diego Comic-Con. Look at me with my goose feather
my
Green
goose
Ranger
feather.
shield.
It's very comfortable, and I love that it doesn't. When I pack it, it still goes back to its original shape when I take it out and all that stuff. And
It's probably quilted batting then.
yeah, I love it. It's my favorite thing. I just wish, what I planned, I wanted to do one day was, well, I mean, I'll say it here, but by the end of this year, I'll officially be retiring that suit. I'll no longer be wearing the suit. It's just too sentimental for me to keep wearing it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to wear a Green Ranger. It's just I'm just going to be retiring the '90s Green Ranger suit for it. I wish that I had gotten it signed at some point, because I think that would have been great in the shadow box for it. But I'm gonna put it in a shadow box, and it's gonna have photos of me and JDF in there, and I'm gonna retire it by the end of next month.
So I didn't say my answer. I waited till the end. My answer is hard because I grew up watching on DVDs, like one of how like DVDs would only have like maybe 8 episodes if you were lucky. So one of them was when he became the White Ranger. So I didn't really see much of Green Ranger Tommy. We saw we got that he was bad, like my brother and I did, but then we saw the transformation into like green to white, and that was like a really big moment for us. And then we watch on like Saturday morning TV, and we see Dino Thunder, and we're like, wait, is that Tommy? What? He doesn't have long hair anymore. Wait, what? What is this? So it was really cool, and also to see him, like we had seen him in the Turbo movie. We didn't see any other part of Turbo. We skipped Zeo because it was just what we had on DVDs, right? And so that with the key, that was really nostalgic for us too. So I'm gonna say probably Dino Thunder, because I like actually watched the whole season, so I feel like I got to see that character. But it was cool that we got to recognize who he was. Like we knew he was the Green Ranger and the White Ranger, and also was in Turbo. Like we didn't know Zeo existed, so we didn't know where the robots came from. We were like, oh yeah, that's the thing, because we watched in space and that like big final battle, right? And we're like, oh yes, robot villains, cool. But yeah, so we got 2 for Dino Thunder, and then 1 for OG. Well, 2 for OG Green Ranger, right?
Yeah.
Can I throw in like a consolation consideration that no one brought up? And it's not Ninjetti. The 95 movie suit, man.
I was about to say that.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
That's all. Didn't mean to cut you off, Cap, but I'm just over here just
No, you're
remembering
good.
how hard of a flex that suit was.
Yes.
That suit was uncomfortable to wear. Like,
I believe they were 50-pound
Not the
suits.
point. None of them look comfortable. They look badass.
Nobody cares it was comfortable.
I believe they were 50-pound suits, and they would tear every time an action shot was done, and they were like hanging on for their lives, trying to do the performances in those suits. And I just remember Jason always saying how heavy they were, but they looked beautiful.
They did.
They were beautiful suits.
Yeah, they really shined. Daniel, what was your favorite?
Tommy form. My favorite Tommy form is, like I said, like White Ranger, specifically season 3. And that kind of intertwines with the movie suit, because I feel my favorite are the Ninjetti like my favorite Zord is the Falcon Zord. I think that's like the coolest Zord there's been.
Not Saba.
Saba is not a Zord. Saba's
Well,
a sword.
Saba was part of the White Tiger Zord.
I mean, it was really cool when Tiger Zord was intro, but we didn't even get to see a lot of Tiger Zord. Honestly, like it didn't. We maybe got like maybe 15 episodes of Tiger Zord. We got a lot of Falcon Zord, and I really thought that was like a cool Zord. I used to have. I don't know if you guys remember the non-transforming Ninjetti Megazord that came with the Falcon Zord. The little small one. I used to take that everywhere as a kid. I never took toys with me anywhere. But
I think the hands punched out.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But like I said, I never took toys with me anywhere, but I took that little Falcon Zord everywhere with me. I loved it so much. When I started collecting again, I bought 2 Falcon Zords. So I have like 2 Falcon Zords in my collection, one to display by himself and one to display with the Shogun Zord. Look, that thing. So,
when you said season 3 White Ranger, I thought you were going to say metallic mode.
Not necessarily metallic mode. I do appreciate shiny. I do like shiny things. I understand what they're trying to do, like trying to make them look like the toys, because those are my favorite OG toys are the metallic toys. I think they're so cool. So much so that I bought the Super 7 ones, and I'm severely disappointed with how shiny they're now. So
is it very silver?
It's very silver. It doesn't have that I feel like in the promos they gave us like that shine.
Yeah.
And it didn't show up with that. It showed up with like a glaze.
Classic Super 7.
Yeah. And it's funny, I never do Super 7, but this time I was like, I need metallic.
I have the Tommy one. I have the Green Ranger Super 7, and I was going to get the White Ranger one, but they stopped with the slip cover.
Yeah.
So I didn't buy it. I skipped it.
It's the triangle box. It's still the box is okay. I think I like the box more than the figure, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I want to give something to the audience that has been here all the way through. We're doing an additional giveaway here tonight. We are doing a special White Ranger Walmart exclusive. Actually, these showed up at Ross too, and I hunted all the Rosses in my area just to get these for you guys. So with the intention of giving them to the audience. So if you guys want to enter to win this, these things, the White and Green Ranger they were on sale at some point, but they sold out very quickly.
Yep.
So these
plenty of yellows if you want to get that.
Yeah, yellows and reds. There was plenty of yellows and reds and blues. So it'll be #legend. Just put that in the chat. While we do that, while we wait for that, I wonder if you guys are okay. We're just going to go through some of the comments that we got for the giveaway for the Master Morpher and the Legacy Dragon Daggers. There were some really good ones. And by the way, if I know it doesn't mean anything, but the video is a review on Patrick Sky's first and second comic book, because I never did the first one, because I told him I was going to do the first one, and then I realized I didn't know how to do a comic book review. And then I did a couple of them, and then I figured it out. And so when he sent me the second one, I did both of them at one time. So, by the way, if you haven't, you still have a couple of copies left. I know those.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ordered extra this go around for restock because there were a lot of, when I released issue number 2, it kind of flew by within just a few short hours. So I was like, I felt kind of bad. I was like, maybe I under ordered, but I was like, no. So when I did restock, I was like, let me order a couple of extra.
I know the second printing you did for the first issue sold out.
People are still asking about that, and I was like, I did a second printing, so I'm not going to do a third for issue number 1. But digital is available. If you click the link in my bios on my socials, you can read it digitally. Everyone's asking, when is digital number 2 going to come out? It's going to be the first week of December. Digital for issue number 2 is going to come out. But I do have a couple of physical copies left of issue number 2. It's linked in my bio. I think they're like, they're under double digits at this point now. So
it's really awesome, man. And it's really, I really like everything about the comic book is awesome. And
thank you.
Number 3. This one says, I was lucky enough to meet JDF several times early on his convention career. He did a VIP fan dinner at Anime Festival Orlando, I believe in 2011. He gave everyone generous time to talk, autographs, selfies, or whatever else any of the fans wanted. My best friend Sterling's voicemail was a personal recorded message from JDF for the longest time. Several Ranger Nation VIPs at the time were there, including Lisa J from No Pink Spandex. But on the top of that, what I remember most was that most happened after all. Jason held court for a good 10 to 15 minute motivational speech just for us. It felt like the predecessor to the YouTube videos he did later on. It was a really cool, intimate moment for a small group that were lucky enough to be there. I just had lost my father then, so to see a man I grew up idolizing, who was a father now as well, taking a valuable hour or two out of his day to spend some personal time with some of the closest fans. And on top of that, push us to be the best version of ourselves and never give up meant a great deal to me. That will forever be my memory of Jason Frank. He always wanted to use his platform as the biggest star of the franchise to motivate and inspire. Sure, he sold a lot of merch and autographs and helped his friends make good money through social media and the convention circuit, no doubt, but he took his role as a hero for a generation seriously and will always be remembered as a force for good in the world, even more so off the screen as he did on. Rest in peace, JDF. That's a really good story. I thought that was really good. Another one that we got was I never got to meet JDF in real life, but his character Tommy Oliver inspired me to fight my medical condition, especially every time I admitted to the hospital. I'm battling stage 5 chronic kidney disease for 11 years now, and there's plethora of complications that will plague you. Tommy's positive outlook in life and encouraging others to be better inspired me to be brave and fight this disease.
My heart goes with you,
man. And I feel like there was a lot of those here. I had the pleasure of meeting Jason on 3 separate occasions over the years. My first was at the very first Comic-Con I attended here in Canada in Niagara Falls. He was so engaged with his fans, he took the time to make sure everyone who came out to see him was acknowledged. He ran up and down the line and to say hi to everyone and made the experience worth it. I met him again for a second time when we returned to Canada. At this time, I made him some fan art. I made him a picture of all his Rangers together, and he held it up for everyone to see and yelled, "Hey guys, when people ask me who I want my Ranger team, this is my answer. All of me." He was so full of energy and appreciated it. He was incredible. My third and final time meeting him was at Fan Expo Canada, where once again he was so full of life. He was interacting with his entire line, and he really took the time to have a friendly chat with me as well. However, what really stuck with me was actually when he did a sale for his 5 Ranger headshot prints, each one to be autographed and mailed out to you. I remember those. I ordered a set, but for some reason never received them. So I emailed about it, and within a couple of weeks, I received not only the original set I ordered, but an entire second set, also autographed at no extra charge. He commented on my Facebook post about this, which read, "You all mean the world to me, buddy." Jason was an incredible human being. He'll always be missed by the Ranger community. That's awesome, man. I remember those headshots. I remember those.
He was so energetic. He would get up on a chair. He would stand on anything to make sure he had your attention, and would always make sure he took the time to say thank you for you to come out and for you to spend. You know, there were times where, I mean, he had the longest lines in conventions. The man was Mr. Comic-Con himself, and some people would dedicate their whole day just to wait online, you know, to see him and miss out on everything going out on the con. And he would always make sure he would take the time out to say thank you, you know, because it's you know, he was always grateful for it, always grateful.
Yeah, man. And not only that, but like the staff that would help these events as well, like we'd hear all these great stories as well.
He would treat everyone exactly the same, from the janitor to the president, you know, treat everyone exactly equally the same.
See, that's kind of what I meant earlier when I said, like, I may not have had the directs just because our paths never crossed that way as far as our mutuals. But man, like, everyone through everyone else was like nothing but like love, and I gotta appreciate that. So
this next one says, sorry, I have to go. I went back to go watch you and talk, and I have to go back. My favorite JDF moment was when I met him when he came to the Montreal Comic-Con a couple years ago. I was the first waiting in line for a photo with him in his Green Ranger costume and me and my Ghostbusters. When he arrived, he told the crowd waiting for that he was sorry because he forgot his morpher for his belt at his hotel room. Lucky for him, I just happened to have one from a friend. I told him he could borrow mine and it can help, and he agreed on the spot. When he finished with he came to our booth and spent around 30 minutes chatting with me. He was a legend and a wonderful human being. Rest in peace, JDF. This next one says, oh, my bad. My favorite memory is the first time I met JDF was in Lexington, Kentucky back in 2012. Found out somehow on Facebook he was going to be there, and I just had to go when the day came. I drove the 3 hours to get there, hardly slept because I was excited. Took my friend with me. I remember getting in there, walked by the food court, and there he was having Subway for breakfast. would have loved to meet him, but I didn't want to be that guy. So I kept walking towards the venue floor, going to find out where his line was, and waited. They had us over in an overflow area. After a while, we learned he was at his table and started meeting fans. It was taking a while, but I didn't mind. Said I have waited many years to meet him. Even if I waited all day, I was fine with it. Eventually, he came over to the overflow area and spoke so we could all hear him, saying he was sorry for the long wait. He was appreciative to see all of us, but he was making sure to take time with everyone and not rush anyone. So please be patient, and he will get to everyone. I just finished a Red Bull and ready to get through this eventually. My turn came, and I was so excited and nervous, but I had to think he is a human just like me and not be so nervous. I got like one or two things signed and then got a picture taken. He had a dragon dagger and a sword of darkness props on display, and I asked if I could have the sword of darkness in the picture. He said yes and got a couple poses with it, held it up, of course, but I was still happy meeting and having a picture with my hero, and still he is my hero. I got to meet him a few more times after the last was in 2020, unfortunately, but I'm glad I got to meet him. Sorry for the long post, but it's always my favorite to tell. I feel like everyone just like remembers every little bit of detail when they met him.
And those are gold. Those are things that you cannot put a price on. You know, what I tell everyone, especially whenever I'm with friends or family, take all the pictures, take all the videos, because you never know how valuable they're going to be until the people are no longer there. I
Right.
scounger to find, videos and photos, and sometimes I go back and like watch videos of him, and then I realize like, oh, I'm in there, like he took a picture, or he's doing something goofy, and then I'm just like, all that stuff I just treasure.
It's funny because I really started going to cons because of his passing. Because I didn't want to miss out these moments because like, he was gonna be here he was here at Big Texas Comic Con, right?
Yeah.
And I remember not going that year because I was just like, I'll see him next time when he comes through. Like he comes to San Antonio once a year, right?
Yeah.
And then I just didn't. And I did see him at a comic book thing that he did, and that was really one of the first things I had ever done as far as like a signing and waiting all the time, like waiting all day for a thing, and which was fine, right? But as far as like his passing and me going to cons, that has been a big thing. And I at first started getting like a lot of autographs like on my Lightning collection stuff, but I think as like I started being more involved, what I wanted was the pictures and the pictures with the people rather than getting my items signed, So although I do cheat sometimes and I'll do an interview and I'll say like, okay, that's my picture and I cheated. So like,
I love photo ops more over autographs.
yeah, I those are a little pricey for me, but I'm working towards it. We'll see.
We actually have Chris in chat, and Chris, you read his story, and he said, that was my story. Thank you for reading it.
Oh, awesome, man. I definitely wanted to read a couple of these because some of these were like really, really like beautiful. I wish I had made a list of them before. But I think we'll probably end with that one. We'll go ahead and pick the winner of our White Ranger Walmart Ross exclusive figure for the Ross Apocalypse.
Ross Apocalypse.
If you guys doing the Ross sale, like, dude, that's the only real way I buy figures now is at Ross. I'm just to be honest.
I'm hearing that for Burlington and Marshalls too. Like, they're starting to get. A friend of mine saw on social media that they were having like the NECA, the original movie TMNT, the NECA, the large ones, for like $70 compared to how they were priced at before.
I think they were cheaper. I think they were like $60.
Crazy.
I remember seeing that someone posted, but I know that like I'm in San Antonio and I'm in flea market heaven over here, so those get. If I'm not there at opening, I don't get a lot of the stuff. And I'm not in a position to do that as much as I used to. All right, guys, we're going to pick our White Ranger Walmart Ross exclusive figure in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And our winner is, and congratulations to, who is it going to be? We got the Wolf 01X. Congratulations, man. You can message me on Instagram, preferably on The Legacy of Nerd, or you can email me at thelegacyofnerd@gmail.com, and you can give me your shipping info there as well. Congratulations on that. So we got 4 winners here tonight, plus Patrick Skies 2, him pulling out some awesome merch as well. We are going to now do the big Master Morpher giveaway. So I actually got this last year with the intention of giving it away this year. So last year we gave away the Green Ranger remastered figure, which now is like worth like $120 in itself. So
I haven't even opened. I haven't even opened mine now. Mine is
I've-
still in the box.
I haven't opened mine either. Mine's right there. So
I remember getting the voice, the voice text of, guess I just locked the Master Morpher deal, and and I got to I got to read the script of what the dialogue was going to be, and it's I haven't been able to open mine up. Mine's going to stay sealed. I can't, to this day I still can't hear the audio and stuff. And I mean, I've seen some reviews, but to actually sit there and try to go through them, I can't do that.
It's funny. I've talked about it before, but I was one of the first, if not the first major, that got the news out. I won't say I'm major, but I got the news out, and it a lot of people learned it from me, right?
You're major. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're major.
Well, okay. And it's funny because I got the news out, and I remember, and this is sort of how I met Aaron a little bit. He repost. I remember the babies in that video because I was in charge of the baby. So the baby made her first appearance in that video. She's from the back. She's so small. She's like a month and a half old, right?
Oh.
And I'm there and I'm trying to hold her and we're trying to get ready. We're going on a date. I'm making this quick video and I'm like getting it out. I remember editing it in the car on the way to the babysitter. And we were going to see, at that time I had gotten, I was invited to see Ant-Man like 10 days early, Ant-Man 3.
Nice.
And so I got it posted. I went into the theater and I came out and I was like, this thing got 6,000 views when I was in the theater, like, and for like 2 hours. And I was like, I wasn't doing views like that back then, right? And I remember a couple days later, for some reason out of nowhere, I got like another 8,000 views. And usually like YouTube videos like die off after some time, especially if they're news. Mm-hmm. I couldn't figure out why. And I was just like, okay, maybe I hit a stride or something, right? And I was like, okay, cool. And then I later found out a couple of days that Aaron posted my video on his Facebook. And I was like, oh, that's where it came from. And because there was all these comments and likes on the video, like the posting, and I was like, that's awesome. But then like I started to hate the thing because like people only asked me about the Master Morpher. It's probably like the same way like he's like getting asked about Legend of the White Dragon, but it was literally like 10 messages every day for like 6 months. Where's the Master Morpher? Any news on the Master Morpher? Like all the time. Comments on other videos. Like what's going on with the Master Morpher? And I was like, by the time it had came out and like been on PulseCon, I was like, I hate this thing. Like I hate this thing so much. But now I think it's like now it's gotten away from me. Like I can appreciate it again as a part of my collection. Yeah. But I remember talking about it on one of my live streams and just being like, I can't wait till this thing comes out because I'm just tired of people asking me about it. and it was just like, yeah. But that was funny. It was cool though. I remember at that time, like it was the first time like I'd seen posts. Like I have like my own private Facebook, right? And I like look at like my feed and what people are saying on it, and there will be like, the Master Morpher's coming. Didn't you hear the Legacy of Nerd? And I was like, those are some like self-affirming moments where I was like, that's cool. Like I didn't have to like go and say like, did you watch my video? Like people are just saying it for me, which I thought was kind of like a good content creator moment. But
and originally the Master Morpher wasn't the go-to plan. It was actually they were gonna do like a 10 or 20 White Ranger Morpher, and it was going to be all White Rangers in it. And then Jason was like, well, what about the Master Morpher? And I remember the conversations were like, Hasbro was like, what's a Master Morpher? And I think that was a transition of when they took over the brand. So they were like, what's the Master Morpher? He's like, let me tell you. And then that kind of like took over fruitation of, okay, let's do it. So
that's him just teaching.
Yeah.
Teaching what fans want and what he already knows.
Because
I put up the recording. That's how like I got the news out. and he's basically saying like Hasbro like, what's a Master Morpher? And he's like, dude, I signed these all day and people are making their own. Like,
Yeah.
I had one. I had once the episode came out, and I ended up taking one of my Bandai of America ones and I put Starlight Studio plates on there, BD1 decals on there, and then Starlight was doing the coins, and I ended up making my own. That's the one I take to conventions with me. Based on the people you interact with, everyone has their own favorite Tommy version. So I was like, okay, which coin do you want to use in the photo? Green,
Right.
white, seal, and all that stuff. So I like to give people options at the booth tables.
I think I actually have because he curses in it, but I think I have a PG-13 edit of it. Let me see if I can find it real quick because it's really cool. Like him influencing really, and it's really the last item that we got from the Lightning collection too. And it's one of the. I mean, this thing goes for like $300 right now. Okay, I found it. Let me share this real quick, and then I promise we'll do the winner of the Master Morpher. Okay.
So, and I did talk to him, between me and you, I talked to Hasbro. They wanted me to do some Morpher thing, some stupid White Ranger, 22 White Ranger Morpher thing. And I said, you know what, you guys, okay, ready for me to make you another million? Are you ready? Because I make you guys millions and I get from it, but ready to make millions? I will only do a Master Morpher. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. That's not a good idea. I got people duplicating them all day long. They're making them. Yep. Give people a Master Morpher. So I heard them rip up their other page with the White Ranger Morpher, the 22 White Ranger Morpher, that ripped that up, and that's between us though. But because I'm on an NDA, but we'll be doing I'll be doing a Master Morpher, which makes sense. So there you go, Hasbro. There's another $1 million. So let Tommy Oliver's legacy rest in peace until you guys can get your stuff together and give the actors something that they should do.
That's just him teaching. There's teaching. Yeah.
Can I just say one thing before the giveaway? Because I work with Starlight Studios and they run out of like Morpher plates, especially during the legacy period, before Lightning, the legacy period. Mm-hmm. The first thing Click hits me up with, like, hey, people have been hitting me up about more gold plates. What do you think that's about? And same kind of response. I'm like, well, so in Ninja Steel, it was that whole thing. And then it was that whole thing, and like easily them things were like flying off. And the thing is, Click and BD15 work in tangent now. Before it used to be more of a separate thing, but we've always had love. But now they just cooperate and collaborate on all the projects. So BD15 was definitely one of the first ones to get like the design out. Matter of fact, I don't know if it was Craig, but the design and the little gadgets of the Zeo design before it officially became the Master Morpher, that was influenced absolutely by the fans. Like that whole design was influenced by the fans, and then they just made a Master Morpher out of it. And I won't pull back the curtain too much as far as, hey, so that one was that they watch, especially when it was under Bandai and Saban. They definitely watch. Let's just say unofficially, like the Lord Draken symbol was absolutely inspired by a Starlight idea, and I'll leave it at that. So I digress. Giveaway time.
It's just to add on that just a little bit is just I think we all knew. So
they're always watching for sure. They're watching.
Always watching.
Starlight Studio, the power. I got the White Ranger 93 power coin, and it was one of my favorite things ever because if you guys know the White Ranger coin that we got back in the day was the weird like mad angry cat.
Yeah. The wonton tiger.
Right. Yeah. And instead we didn't get the symbol. And
it was the same thing with the Dragon Zord, right? Too. It was the dragon. It was Godzilla, like this Loch Ness monster.
Godzilla. It was Happy Godzilla.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't call it Derby Godzilla like me?
I was calling it the Loch Ness monster.
Nessie.
That's Nessie. Oh my god.
Nessie. All right, guys, let's do the big one. Obviously, this was a really big giveaway. I know a lot of people were hoping for this. I just want to say thank you to everyone that entered. Thank you to everyone that's followed. Thank you to everyone that got us to be able to do something bigger this year. Like doing a Master Morpher and a Dragon Dagger is insane. I want to say you guys are the sponsor. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to my friends in the chat. Thank you to everyone that's been helping. You guys are awesome. And congratulations to whoever wins. This was open worldwide, which we have never been able to do before. But now we can because of the growth that we have had in the last 2 years, especially in the last year, has been insane. So thank you to everyone and good luck. Oh man, I know there's like people probably holding their breath right now.
It's like the live auction right now. Like who's
right. It's this funny thing because when I was at More Phenomenal, someone got excited, came up to me. It's like, I found the Master Morpher for $300. It was only $300. I was like, and I knew I was going to do this year. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the winner is Daniel Cantu 859. Congratulations. Make sure to message me and get your info on Instagram or thelegacyofnerd@gmail.com. I hope you're happy. If you're not on the stream, well, I hope you're here on the stream. But if you're not on the stream, I'll message you or I'll put a comment on your comment and we'll see how that goes. So hopefully reach out to me. All right, guys. We've been running 2.5 hours. I think this is one of our longest streams, probably since last year's JDF tribute show. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. I'm gonna start with Archer. Don't sign off yet, but do you have any last things that you wanted to talk about?
No, just nerd affiliated here on YouTube and Instagram. And if you're into Ghostbusters things, Real Nerd Busters on Instagram.
Awesome, man. That's right, because you started a Ghostbuster team, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. He's been really I feel like I saw you grow into cosplay. Like I knew you cosplayed a little bit before, but you've been taking it, especially with the Ghostbusters, way more serious.
Yeah, well, cosplay was my jam before all the YouTube stuff.
Right.
And then YouTubing turned into toy hunting, and then now I'm kind of like going back that direction.
Awesome. DJ, any last things you like to talk about? Because DJ's coming back because we have Bloodline stuff to talk, but anything last thing you last say tonight?
First of all, I just want to thank everybody on this stream, both here on the panel and also everybody watching right now. Jason David Frank was absolutely an inspiration. He is loved by millions. Power Rangers absolutely would not be what it is without him. I don't know. I don't want to follow that up with plugging the socials. Are we doing that at the end? Should I do that now?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Sure.
Your time.
You can find me on DJ Rivers on Instagram. Find the dude that looks like me. He wears hats. That's me. Official Bloodline Creations on Instagram. Eventually we'll have a YouTube channel specifically for Bloodline stuff, which is still part of the Power Rangers Extended Universe. So feel free to definitely follow Power Rangers Extended Universe as well on Instagram and all the socials. But back to Whitework here. Rest in peace, Jason David Frank. Damn, he was the man.
I was like, I think he's on delay now. You went Japanese on us.
Wait,
I thought we were giving him. I thought he was giving us a moment of silence.
I thought so too. I was like,
it was a moment of silence.
Oh, there we go.
The heck?
We're going back to filming in the car.
You know, I'm in the car next time just for this. All right, just these streams. I'm absolutely finding a sidewalk.
Kat, anything you like to sign off saying tonight?
Are we like signing off?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's
Okay.
sign off. Yeah.
Suicide and Crisis Hotline 988. You don't have to be the person going through the crisis. You can be the friend of the person, and they can help you that way. They can also help you connect you with other resources. NostalgiaCon's coming up. I am flying out to NostalgiaCon. I am coming to Texas for the very first time, and I will be hosting the Power Rangers meetup on the Saturday of NostalgiaCon at 2:00. So please come. Please say hi. We're going to have lots of fun, and yeah, I hope to see you all there. And this honestly couldn't have been made possible without JDF. He worked so hard to make Power Rangers a continuous thing so that, you know, people like me could grow up with it and then eventually like cosplay Power Rangers. And yeah, so just feel free to come to NostalgiaCon and share your favorite memories. I'd love to hear them.
Do you mind if I jump in real quick? Because there was something important that Kat said earlier in regards to reach out to your family, reach out to your friends. I'll be the one to say sometimes we don't always have those resources. That's definitely great advice, and that's definitely do that. But if we're lucky to have a friend, a family member to go to, some of us don't. There are professionals who want to help. They literally are professionals who want to help because you're not alone. Even if you feel like you are alone, even if your phone isn't blowing up like everybody else's, and comparison is like the cousin of envy, and it's easy to feel like we don't have what everyone else has, and that is fine and that's okay. But if you don't have family, if you don't have friends, there is that number, there are those resources, and these individuals and professionals want to let you know you are not alone and they want to help you. So I just wanted to say that real quick, just in case you feel like you heard, oh, go to my family, go to my friends, and you may not necessarily have those connections at this current moment in time. There is still hope. That's all I wanted to say.
I do want to build on that and say that whatever you share with the hotline remains private until they need to contact maybe an authority member if they need to intervene. So don't fear about that coming out as well. You can tap to these individuals and it will remain private, and you can seek help in a safe way.
They have your interest in heart, essentially.
Right.
Exactly.
I apologize.
Patrick,
Yeah.
No, you're good. No, real quick, Patrick, before, I think I've been asked this like 4,500 times tonight. Can you show your poster in the background?
Yes.
Because that's been like the #1 comment tonight.
Look at that sexy stud in the front.
Yeah.
That's what I
Who's
wanted
that?
to see.
So this is what I was talking about when I used to before I started doing the show versions. I was doing alternate versions of the suits before I went show style. So these were like some of them. This is one of my old banners, but this kind of shows some of the spin-offs of like the Bat in the Sun, kind of inspired from it. Zeo and Turbo, and I don't know if you guys can see it here, but the White Ranger is kind of in that style too.
Yeah.
And then Lord Draken, I mean, I had to do Lord Draken, but I did in the comic book style. And there goes my precious, my one of one, my PR-17 Green Ranger suit, if we would have got that sequel.
Well, we got it now because of you. So,
Mhm.
all right, man. Any last words for tonight?
Thank you for loving my friend. Thank you for loving my brother. JDF meant a lot to everyone. Hold on to it. Remember those memories, and cherish them, because as long as you're keeping them, bright, they're going to continue shining, and just be sure to stick with one another. It, just like everyone else supporting me was saying, it's okay to not be okay. And if you'd like, feel free to donate to foundations that can enhance and help one another out. Like the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. If you have the means, feel free to help donate to them to enhance, their support system, to reach out to more people for it. It'll help in a big way. Rise of the Dragon, I don't promote it, but I do make donations to AFSP. With the proceedings I do make off of it, I do donate a portion of them just to help out, because you never know who needs the help, and the ones who need the most are the ones who are the most silent for it. So don't be afraid to reach out, because we're here for you, and there's too many people in the world to ever feel alone. We're in a big blue planet. Feel free to ask for help. We're here for you. Even if it's just to hear somebody out, we're here for you. For it. But thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Legacy of Nerd, for putting this together. For it, it was fantastic, and my additional, panelists here, Archer and DJ, you guys are fantastic, and everything you guys are doing. Bloodline of the Grid, be sure to follow it, be sure to subscribe to it, be sure to subscribe to everybody in this panel here. What DJ is doing is fantastic work, and for me, that's the highlight series that I'm always watching and staying up with. So be sure to watch on that, because they're doing a fantastic, amazing things. If you guys like to You guys are not forced. If you guys like to read Rise of the Dragon, which is a spin-off sequel to PR-17, feel free to. Up to you, no pressure. But it's if you want to get your PR-17 fix. I'm here for it. So I don't have any conventions for the rest of this year. Next year, I'll probably be at most of I think there's 5 Ranger conventions happening next year, which is Ranger Stop and Pop Atlanta, which is going to be their final show. For it, More Phenomenal Expo is doing a mini and a normal one. Power Morphicon Express is coming back. It's making its grand return. Location is to be announced. Even though I hear the rumors. That and I feel like I'm Go Ranger Station in Philadelphia next year as well. So there's a lot of Ranger. The brand may be on the end of life support, but we are all carrying the franchise in our own respective ways through storytellings of independent fan films, comic book, writing stories, Comic-Con conventions, and so many different outlets for it. So, the Ranger community is still thriving in our own ways, and I just feel like it's going to keep going as long as we keep it going. And for me, I enjoy the storytelling of our versions just as much as I enjoy the shows. So to me, they're all intertwined for it. So just keep on rocking and rolling.
Awesome, man. Now, Archer, I know I said not to sign off, but do you have anything? Because I didn't give you that real opportunity, so I want to make sure I give you the real opportunity.
Oh no, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make.
And thank you everybody for having me.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna say my thing. As someone, God, I don't talk a lot about my personal stuff, as you guys know, but as someone who has dealt with depression, in very serious forms throughout my life, and being a Mexicano and dealing with machismo and stuff like that, and feeling under, these aren't things you can't talk about. These are absolutely things that you can talk about. There's the stigma of therapy was something that was very big in my family, but it's something that really helps me in my life. I know it's helped a lot others. I think the hardest part is asking for help. And I know it sounds like everyone just says like, go ask for help, ask for help. And you just can't. And I so understand that, but I'm pleading with you. If you are having these feelings, or you having these very, very sad feelings, please try to talk to someone. I know it's so hard. And whether it's through, the intervention hotline, or whether it's to your neighbor, or even just like to the person taking your coffee order, just try to get it out, tell somebody. That way it always leads to good things happening as far as people getting help and getting things out on their chest. Whether it's just something as simple as trying to talk to someone you feel like you don't have someone to talk to, and that being what you need to do. But like I said, as someone who has dealt with the stigma in their family and their culture, and having to need the help that I needed, there's a lot of things that wouldn't have happened if, I got the help that I had. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, and Kat, for being here tonight. Thank you, Aaron, for jumping by earlier. I look forward to these streams. I feel like these streams are like the ones where I do news now. That's what I do. I do news now. But this is something that you guys know, Power Rangers is something I've always been passionate about. Whether I talk about Star Wars, I'm always going to come back to Power Rangers. And a big part of that is JDF, and JDF being the big influence in my life, making me want to be a real life hero, and me trying to do as much as I can in my life, in my personal life, to fulfill, that part of me that I grew up with watching these heroes. So thank you guys to everyone for watching. I know there were so many of you tonight, but especially like all you regulars that have been here all throughout, and especially the new people as well. We'll be back next year, as always, with the 4th annual. We'll have familiar faces, new faces as usual. As far as things coming up for me, guys, I never know what I'm going to do. So this is the only thing I know I'm going to do every year. So just keep up with me. I'll see some of you guys in Houston. Can't wait. But y'all have a good one. we're gonna do the It's Morphin time because I never warn everyone. So, all right. So I'm gonna say, you know what time it is, and everybody goes. So 1, 2, 3. Do you guys know what time it is?
It's morphin' time.
It's Morphin
I was gonna
time.
say
You no one did it.
We messed it up on purpose just for you.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Y'all know what time it is.
It's
Morphin'
Morphin
time.
time.
Y'all have a great night, guys.